Deus Ex: Mankind Divided was a game made by id Software, and it's a very complex story full of conspiracy theory and tinfoil and dropping red pills left and right, and it's all about cyberpunk if it wasn't gay. And that killed the franchise, or did it? Today we'll be discussing about for 4 hours, telling you why this game is a misunderstood genius and why you should be watching this for 4 hours, because you're a fucking retard with no opinion for yourself and you need validation of some fucking British faggot talking for 4 hours straight, because again, you cannot think for yourself. Well, you know, it's okay, man. If you can't think for yourself, I'm here, man, to tell you that this game is a misunderstood genius. Or is it? You will not believe in part of 2 hour mark. You will never see that one coming unless you watch it.
What's up, you crazy fucking bastards? King Cobra JFS back at it with another video. And if you want to see slow-mo turned off, donate to the PayPal. Buy a t-shirt. So I was watching this conservative Christian by the name of Matt Walsh. He was on YouTube, premiered about 2 hours ago. The video explaining how the left likes to groom kids and do inappropriate things. And it's so obvious that the left, the extreme left, is into some really nasty shits. And the extreme right is full of idiots. I fucking hate sickos. I'm so sick and tired of this shit. So join me as we venture into a video response. Now, if the movie Cuties had been directed by a dude, it would have gotten a lot more worse received than it did. But because a female directed it, no offense, ladies, you have that privilege in our society. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just women abuse their privilege as much as men do. And fuck that movie. That movie was disgusting. Just the reviews of it, I'm like, no, dude, that's gross. I agree that kids should not be sexualized in our society, but do you have to go that far with it to prove your point? You know what I'm saying? Like, to some degree, yes. It's like saying, oh, cigarettes are bad. So then kids gravitate towards things like cigarettes and being sexual and rebellious, and that's when they become teenagers. Fuck child molesters, dude. I would sacrifice everything I loved in the world to end that shit, dude.
Today on the Matt Walsh Show, the left insists that teachers absolutely aren't sexually indoctrinating elementary schoolers, yet there's video footage.
The cool thing about being a kid in the 90s and growing up in grade school when I did is teachers kept the sexualities to themselves. You feel me? Like, as long as you ain't a sick fucking bastard and you want to suck dick and you're a male teacher and the person you're with is of age, alive, and consenting, no judgment. That's where we're going to draw the line, YouTube. Fuck sickos. Like, teachers weren't making TikTok videos about coming after their students when I was a kid. The problem with this is the LGBTQ community gets a bad rep because sick fucks are trying to do the exact same thing with the whole pride flag, and it's so fucking stupid. It's sort of like when people look at you and go, oh, you're autistic? Yeah. And they name out some fucked off individual who had it just like so-and-so, and it's like, yeah, we're not all like that.
Of teachers doing precisely that. Also, Pete Buttigieg says that children will die if he and his fellow groomers are not allowed to.
We can teach kids to be tolerant of LGBTQ plus without shoving it in their faces. Dude, I was rocking goth makeup as a straight heterosexual man for of-age women since freaking junior high school. And everyone gave me shit for it. They're just like, oh, look at the fag, look at the tranny. And I gave him one of these, like, fuck off, you cunts. And all the kids that bullied me in high school and junior high are going, you remember that weird Saunders kid? Yeah, the one that's obsessed with cobras. Look at me now, 34,000 subscribers, motherfucker.
Do whatever they want to our kids. The truth is that gender ideology, as professed by Buttigieg and others, is what will kill kids and is killing kids. Also, Donald Trump endorses pro-abortion.
Now notice this. He's conservative and he's Christian. The views on Satan are so misguided. He's painted as the evil person when evil exists in the church as well. There been some really fucked up incidences of child sacrifice and shit. That's fucked. People doing that shit in the name of whatever. It's stupid. And then you got these assholes in the Catholic Church who are molesting kids, which is equally as fucked.
Anti-gun pro-trans Dr. Oz, and a jury refuses to convict the men entrapped by the FBI in a plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan. Plus, Sam Elliott issues the inevitable groveling apology for committing the sin of not liking a gay cowboy movie. In our daily cancellation, some libertarians on YouTube try to debunk me. We'll see how they did. All of that and more today on the Matt Walsh Show.
So, Matt Walsh, did you go to Kelly Walsh? Okay, that was a really bad joke.
Did you know that if you're currently on a phone plan,
you go out of that stupid rivalry shit when you get out of high school, to be honest.
One of the major carriers, you are helping these left-leaning companies donate to pro-choice causes and candidates. You probably don't like that, but that's the fact of the matter. A common question I get from my listeners is, what can I do to help turn the tides in the culture? Well, here's a great first step. Defund the abortionists. Don't let them take your money and use it to further policies that you don't believe in. Switch to Charity Mobile today.
Defund the abortionists. Wow. Conservative Catholic who's against abortion. Shocker. Want to sniff it? Would you be saying that if it was your wife and you were excited to have a baby, just like, Larry dear, we're going to be a family, the regular American dream. Doctor said it's going to come out dead in 9 months. Would you legitimately make your wife go through that?
Send 5% of your monthly plan price to any pro-life charity of your choice. Charity Mobile offers the latest 5G phones with no device or service contracts, plus great nationwide coverage. That sounds like a hassle.
If God was against abortion, why the fuck did he create it? That's...
I assure you...
Because God created everything, right?
Isn't Charity Mobile makes switching from...
Fuck sickos.
Current carrier painless. Their live customer service is exceptional and will guide you through the process. You can keep your number and even your phone in most cases, or if you want, you can take advantage of my special offer and get a free cell phone with free activation. All you have to do is call this number, 1-877-474-3662, or chat with them online at CharityMobile.com. Mention offer code Walsh to redeem the free cell phone offer. That's CharityMobile.com. Mention offer code Walsh. Join the fight for the lives of children by switching to Charity Mobile today.
Do you have any idea what it's like for women to give birth? The hormones, the emotions. It's just emotional roller coaster for 9 whole months. Oh, it's dead. That's Jesus Christ. I cannot begin to fucking imagine how emotional that would be for a woman. So traumatizing. Kind of like when a dude is expected to fuck his of-age chick, but he can't perform to the best of his ability. No comparison, because it's totally different. But you see how the genders are placed with these gender-based roles. Men are expected to work on cars and fight in wars, and Women are expected to be in the kitchen, and it's so fucking sexist. That's why I got offended by the G.I. Jane joke. I'm like, the idea that women can't have short hair and save the day and serve in the army. And it's just like, dude, if it was your wife getting nagged on, you'd hate it. I support the idea of killing child molesters.
I have noted one of the interesting things about the leftist
I'd rather fuck a pile of horse shit, to be honest.
reaction to the anti-groomer efforts in Florida and elsewhere is that they tell us the
The Don't Say Gay bill is fucked.
laws are totally unnecessary because nobody is trying to sexually indoctrinate young children anyway. And they also tell us that the laws are an assault on human rights and will result in millions of gay people dying of unspecified causes. The law
Like child pornography should be killed and canceled, and it's just bad. It's gross. It's degrading enough as it is with adults who do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, dude.
will do nothing, and also they will do very horrible things at the exact same time. These claims obviously can't both be true, but let's look at them individually. If this is a non-issue and there is no sexual indoctrination of children happening anyway, then it's very hard to explain this video just posted by our nation's leading journalist, Libs of TikTok. Here we see a first grade teacher at a Boston charter school, Brook Charter School is what it's called, instructing students in grades K through 2 about transgenderism during what is being called an identity share Zoom call. Listen to this.
All right, so something that's really cool and unique about who I am is that I am transgender. So we touched a little bit about that at the beginning of this week in the book that Miss Hammond read, but I'm going to give you my explanation of.
Okay, kids of that age, nah, they ain't gonna understand transgender. It does not compute because their first inclination of gender is mommy's a girl, daddy's a guy. And then you come in and just completely erase what they've barely learned. And now there's like 10 million genders. Fuck that and fuck sickos.
What it means to be transgender as well. So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess about whether the baby is a boy or a girl based on what they look like. And most of the time, that guess is 100% correct. There are no issues whatsoever. But sometimes the doctor is wrong. The doctor makes an incorrect guess. When the doctor makes it.
Okay, the baby's not even old enough to decide its own gender. So how the fuck can the doctor misgender it? This is where it gets frustrating because it's like, the Stevensons, let's say on the more positive spectrum, let's just say their kid survived. We just gave birth to it. It's not a we, it's her, asshole. Get it right. Whatever. They're like, here's our baby boy, baby girl. And then some bigoted comes up and says, don't assume that baby's gender. You bigoted. And it's just like, I support trans rights, but don't you think that preschoolers are a little young to be learning about that crap?
Guess that's when a person is called cisgender. When a doctor's guess is wrong, that's when.
Oh, like when the fucking cunts doxed J.K. Rowling by calling her a sissy, and then on top of that, it's just like, oh hey, we don't like being bullied for being different. Yeah, but did you stop and examine why J.K. Rowling was pissed about the trans bullshit? That there are assholes who take advantage of it, who aren't trans, but they say it just to get a lesser punishment. because of gender privilege. Fuck off, dude.
Transgender. So I'm a man, but when I was a baby, the doctors told my parents I was a girl. And so my parents gave me a name that girls typically have and bought me clothes that girls typically wear. And until I was 18 years old, everyone thought I was a girl. And this was super, super uncomfortable for me because I knew that wasn't right. The way I like to describe it is like wearing a super itchy sweater. The longer you wear it, the itchier it gets. And the only way to make the itching stop is to have everyone see and know the person that you really are. So when I was 18, I told my family and my friends that I'm really a boy. And it was like this huge weight had been lifted off of my shoulders, and I had the freedom to be who I truly am. And even though this experience is super challenging sometimes, it made me the person I am, and I'm super proud to be transgender.
This person is a disgrace to plaid, first of all. I'm ashamed to be wearing plaid on a day like today. Remember,
excuse me. There's nothing wrong with what that teacher's doing except coming out to your classmates when they're way too young to grasp the concept is a little inappropriate.
Nobody is talking.
That's what they call grooming, my friends.
Little kids about transgenderism, even though we have seen video after video after video of exactly that, teachers doing exactly that, and openly admitting that they've done and will continue to do exactly that.
Knowing in 100 years or so, your boy King Cobra, in 100 years or so, I'm not going to be around for like 100 years from now. If I am, cool. If not, whatever. It's going to be so fucking confusing.
Teacher in the video tells the little helpless children that there are two categories of people, transgenders and cisgenders. Now, I think it's worth lingering here for just a moment to consider that claim in a little bit more depth. That is, after all, something that we can do as reasonably intelligent adults.
As reasonably intelligent adults, like I said earlier, Cuties is a gross fucking movie. And if a dude would have directed it, that dude would have been seen as the biggest fucking pervert in the world. But because we got a female director doing it, it was just misunderstood. Fuck off.
Picture this. You're walking down a dimly lit street late at night, and all of a sudden, two attackers jump out of nowhere. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Well, if you want me, you pull out your open carry pistol and shoot their ass. Just kidding. No, but seriously, welcome to Wyoming. Consider everyone armed and dangerous.
Most people are going to freeze. Most people are going to get their teeth kicked in, but
analyze claims made by other adults and figure out whether they're credible. Lots of grown-ups in this country aren't even capable of that much. So then what chance do little kids have in that case? How are they supposed to sift through the nonsense and decipher truth from propaganda? Again, there are millions of adults in this country who will hear what the person in that video said and think, yep, makes perfect sense. So if adults can hear all of that blathering gibberish and be duped by it, what hope is there for a 7-year-old? Yet those of us who have maintained...
That's a fair argument. If the adults are being misled,
our capacity for critical thought, might notice that the transgender versus cisgender thing is, first of all, simply one binary system being substituted for another.
Now, why is it like that? Transgender versus cisgender. Fuck that stupid shit. We live in a fucking society where transgendered people are forced down our throat, and where gays are openly accepted, and if we're still not getting along, there's a fucking problem. Why can't gays, straights, trans, and non-binaries just get along? As long as you ain't a sick fuck, who gives a shit? This is where we have other stuff. Oh shit, what's this? We'll get into that in a second. Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ is a cunt, hell Satan. This fucking video is an hour long. As an independent, anti-sicko fucking kind of person, who also fucks with black magic and shit. It's weird that I'm agreeing with some points that a conservative Christian's making. I am very conservative on some issues, but I'm also very Democrat on certain issues, like when it comes to marijuana legalization and abortion rights and women's rights. Very conservative is what the trolls would say. I'm actually very Democrat when it comes to that issue. But the idea that Republicans are sexist, women hating assholes is just, it's a stereotype.
Now, these people insist that the gender binary is artificial and limiting, and then they turn around and introduce a different system.
Because when I was a kid growing up in the 90s, you had boy, girl. My idea of cross dressing was Bugs Bunny fucking with Elmer Fudd the whole episode. You know what I'm saying? It was innocent enough. I had no idea what it meant, but it made me laugh because it was seen as comedy, it was seen as fun.
That is also binary. And where did they get the cisgender thing from? It's obvious why they find the term useful. It implies that normal.
Don't be a sissy. So it's okay if we call them sissies, but you call them tranny faggots and they lose their shit. How's that equality smelling? Like stinky ass Wildman horse shit, dude. I tell you what.
People who identify as the sex they were born are not actually normal, but are instead just.
Because according to a trans person, if I identify as cisgendered, of age, white male, as how I've been my entire life, I'm seen as the problem. And it's just like, I don't go out of my way to harass people for being trans. As long as you ain't a sick fuck, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how I try to be, but you get these sick fucks who are ruining it for the trans movement. There have been several cases of trans people creeping on people that they shouldn't be creeping on. You don't even know, dude. Like, I would sacrifice all the alcohol in the world to end sickos. That's why I'm blasting that fucking get rid of sicko shirt. I wanted it to say shoot your local pedophile, but a little too graphic and to the point. So I included all sickos, not just them sick fucks. Just made it say get rid of sickos. And Customized Girl was like, all right, we can dig it.
Impossible variation. It also helps to reframe all human beings in the terms and language of LGBT ideology. Calling us cisgender is essentially like, it's like the LGBT version of.
And if you're pissed about this crap, welcome to what people who are gay and trans have had to fucking deal with the last 30, 40 plus years. Decades of people hating you just because you're gay or trans, and that's stupid. It's, like I said, as long as you ain't a sicko, that's where we gotta draw the line, people. You feel me? Look at me, you feel me? All right.
Vicarious baptism. We are all baptized into their worldview, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, whatever.
But where did the cisgender word come from? As it turns out, the term was first coined in 1991 by a German sexologist named Volkmar Segush in a paper titled Transsexuals and Our Nosomorphic View, whatever that means. Now, you notice.
Even though he may be Christian, he's, I guess, studied, educated.
Theme here. Almost every depraved and insane thing in our culture.
You learn a couple things. You just listen.
At least as it relates to sex, can be traced back to 20th century sexologists, especially German sexologists. And just like almost all the rest of them, Segush took a rather tolerant view of pedophilia, drawing a distinguishing line between pedophiles and what he called, quote, pedosexuals. He said in an interview a few years ago that pedosexuals can be, quote, kind-hearted, informed, and enlightened, and that we should not try to cure them of their, quote, desires.
Fuck that shit.
But instead, we should just try to, keep them from making physical contact with children. So it's not the desire is not the problem. It's just the act itself. As mentioned, this accepting approach to pedosexuality is quote unquote pedosexuality, as
it shouldn't be a sexuality. That's where I disagree with that fucking German scumfuck. Fuck him. Shouldn't piss on his fucking grave, dude. Oh my god, why is that a thing? Ugh. Oh god, that's so gross. That's good rum. Yeah, it's banana rum cream from Blue Chair Bay. Not a sponsor. Oh, that's good. The thing you have to realize, and this is what sucks about alcohol, is that fuck sickos, for one. Doesn't matter how much alcohol you drink, you're never gonna get rid of these fucking bastards. All you can do is be a good person. And that's the bitch of it, to be honest. Everyone go the song from Satan's Bell. I can't change the world can't change me. That is some good fucking rum, dude. Oh, it's so smooth. A couple of beers and some rum. I'm like, I'm so sick and tired of talking about sick shit on my channel. Like, that's why I do the joke videos. It's not just some stupid video response or some political rant. It's just, oh, hey, Cobra's doing one of his stupid Josh jokes. Hilarious. Mm. Dude, banana rum cream from Blue Chair Bay or bartenders on bananas over you. Yes, those are two great banana rums. That's the stuff, YouTube. Fuck sickos. Mm. Why is it I go live and it's just like I want to blow up Cobra's phone just because we're a fan or because we want to troll him? That's just how it goes. Just ignore it and do this shit. I need another beer. I need a beer. People suck. Am I right, YouTube? Yeah. Yeah, you should try to cure them of this disease. It's a fucking disease. I don't know what the fuck that German cocksucker was thinking when he wrote that paper. What kind of nah, dude? Fuck that shit. Uh, mm. There we go. Instead of going around and killing child molesters, at the very least, encourage them to get help and to stop doing that shit. Like chemical castration would be a good start.
And calls it, is a through line that connects nearly all of the 20th century sexology.
Satanic 11 rules of the earth. Rule number 9. Okay, there's a big difference between getting an abortion because it could potentially kill the mother during childbirth or the kid could come out dead, kind of thing. Both heartbreaking circumstances, to be honest, that nobody wants to think about.
Psychology quacks who invented gender ideology.
Psychology quacks is right. God damn, dude.
And Alfred Kinsey principle among them. So keep all this in mind.
I wouldn't call them quacks because that would just give ducks a bad name. Those guys are fucking the biggest nasty, dude.
When you hear the claims,
disgusting.
Critical race theory is just a legal theory and it isn't taught in school.
Don't bring critical race theory into this. There's a big difference between hating child molesters and the way black people were treated, you fucking piece of shit. God damn it. Yo, fuck sickos and fuck racism all around it, dude. Because I'm sick and tired of it. This critical race theory is bad. At the same time, it's like, do you think I like being reminded of my fucking past about how racist my white ancestors were? I'm like, well, actually, yeah, I'm 80% British, 30% Scottish, and then a mixture of other shit. No, I don't like being reminded of it, to be brutally honest with you, man. I don't like it one bit. Because not all white people are racist. Not all black people are the way they're perceived, you know? It's just but fuck sickos, okay? That's where we draw the line on that shit, 'cause that's just how it is, dude. There's a big difference. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to use the racial tension and the hatred for sick fucks to try to start some kind of
Well, cisgender was coined in a German sexology paper 30 years ago. Now it's being taught to kindergartners. So there is a pipeline that takes radical, obscure left-wing ideas directly into grade school and out into the wider culture. The pipeline in this case is more of a sewage line, and we're all now living in the filth and muck that dumps out on the other end. There's something else worth noting in the video, though. The groomer teacher says that doctors guess about whether a baby is a boy or a girl. And I've heard this variation more and more frequently, this idea of, well, it's just a guess. And it is a kind of a significant departure from the usual sex assigned at birth narrative that we get from these people. Now, that narrative is also completely false, of course, but because doctors no more assign a child's sex than they assign the child's species or DNA structure. But at least the assigned language pays some moderate deference to the concept of biological sex. The sex is assigned, quote unquote, based on the child's reproductive organs. But even that is too much for the trans ideologues. By changing the language to guess, the groomers are convincing children that the sex on their birth certificate is a completely random, totally arbitrary, haphazard designation. It's all a roll of the dice.
That's where I disagree with it. 100. I agree with what he's saying. Hear me out. allowing them to accept themselves or decide for themselves versus forcing them to choose it. There's a big difference. Because now it's the political correct thing to do kind of thing. No, dude. I support trans rights, but like if you're 18 or older, you've gone through puberty as the gender you were assigned. Fuck puberty blockers, fuck sickos.
It's not even an estimation or a theory or a prediction or a construct. It's simply a guess. Like, I might guess about whether you're holding a quarter in your right or left hand. That kind of guess. The effect, quite intended, of course, is to make the child listening to this begin to question whether the doctor guessed correctly in his own case. It is destabilizing to the child.
Yes, but for being told, don't assume their gender, you bigots. People can be dicks to trans people, I will admit that. But to be so goddamn sensitive that people who have just given birth to someone don't want everyone assuming their sex of their own child, and at the same time get pissed off when they come out and say, "Oh, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, freaking, this is our new child. Congratulations, the Stevensons. Woohoo, you have a baby girl or a baby boy. That's awesome, man. Hope they grow up healthy and abuse free," kind of thing. And then these people come out and say, "How dare you? How fucking dare you assume that person's gender, you bigoted piece of shit." So, like, let me get this straight. It's only politically correct when it fits your narrative. See, that's not very equal. And not all trans people are like that, or not all people part of that movement are like that. It's just like Blair White said, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, dudes and dudettes, trans people get a bad rep, dude, because of fucking assholes. And to some degree, I kind of feel that. Fuck Elliot Rogers, that fucking incel piece of shit.
He thought he knew himself.
Now, if he would have waited patiently and said, fuck the mass shooting, that blonde that's putting his fucking weird looking face on the front of fucking t-shirts and wearing them, that would have been his future girlfriend. But now he's never going to date her. That was the blonde chick of his dreams. If he would have said, fuck mass shootings and waited patiently and worked on his personality, maybe be a little less creepy, and said fuck mass shootings and fuck sickos and all this other shit, you would have found her eventually, dude. Just focus on your YouTube and keep doing your thing and working on your personality instead of blaming it on, the. I'm just saying, dude. Coming from my experience, that's real talk. The second I found out Elliot Rogers had Asperger's, I was just like, that was the first time in my life I felt ashamed and disgusted to have it. Absolutely fucking disgusted.
But now he's not so sure. This is where the identity crisis.
We can't control our circumstances. All we can do is control how we react to it. And because women are expected to give it, men are expected to get it, kind of thing. The pressure for dating, to some degree, is the same for women and men, but to some degree, it can be a lot more stressful. Actually, you know what? No, I think about it. It equals out when you really think about it. Because think about it, if a woman wants to get laid, but she can't, she's seen as you're a strong woman. But at the same time, if she gets too much of it, she gets slut shamed, which is pretty fucked. Like, oh hey, it's okay, if you don't have anyone. Where is that for us guys? I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, dude, if a chick rejects us for being too fat, no one's gonna say, "Hey, you're a fat shaming slut." Because as soon as you say that, it's like, "Oh no, you're slut shaming," and then they're both going, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah."
Again, it begins, it is caused, it is imposed, it is started intentionally. And then years later, after a childhood full of unnecessary confusion, self doubt, self loathing, if that child then tragically
Let kids be kids and keep them safe. How unreasonable is that?
succumbs to despair,
Like 10 minutes into the video, and I'm just like,
and hurts or kills himself, the same people who sent him down that path
fuck suicide. Living is just a slow way to die, if you really think about it.
will then turn around and blame those of us who had absolutely nothing to do with it. This was illustrated late last week with this exchange between Pete Buttigieg and the clucking hens of The View. Listen.
My state of Florida, with the so-called "Don't Say Gay" law now.
Yeah, that law is stupid.
Which he says will kill kids. Do you agree?
I disagree.
And as a politician, because this
I got called a creep in high school just for liking the cutest chicks in my class. So I can't begin to imagine what it's like for the gay community, dude. All the chicks that rejected me in high school are going, yeah, that Saunders kid became a sexy bad boy YouTube celebrity. Well, ain't that a bitch? Damn, Saunders!
strikes you as, your husband is a teacher. Yeah. You are obviously LGBTQ yourself, and you are now a parent.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about
this? He's right. And I think every law ought to be judged for the effect it's going to have on real people in real life. And I get the political reasons why they're doing this. By the way, some of those political reasons is they don't have a plan on anything else, right? I mean, they don't have a plan on dealing with inflation or dealing with gas prices or dealing with the issues.
Yes, he says the law will kill kids. If he's not allowed to groom children, they will die.
That is so fucking retarded. It's not about grooming kids. It's about teaching them to be accepting of certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like your kids are not going to be mature enough to know what any of this adult crap is. Sexual identity and all this other crap. They don't care. They want to play in a mud puddle and build sandcastles and eat s'mores and color outside the lines. You know what I'm saying? They want to be kids, damn it. They don't want to be indoctrined with this fucking transgender BS that they don't care. And then they're not mature enough to grasp the concept of it. And if they say they don't care, they get told by the adults, well, you're bad. So now it's just like, now they feel like the adults are twice as hard to please and make happy. Because that's all the kids want. They want acceptance from the adults. Fuck sickos. Just like adults want acceptance from their own community, kind of thing. Well, it's the truth, man. Like when your dad's sitting there watching baseball and you want to get your dad's approval, so you join the baseball team. You try to score a couple home runs so your dad can be like, yeah, kind of digging at here, YouTube. And it's become that way, only instead of baseball, now it's about transgender rights. And instead of accepting it naturally on your own terms, you're being forced to accept it, which makes more people reject it, which sets the movement back further than it needs to be. And then on top of that, you got these fucking assholes like Jessica Univ. Jesus Christ. Here's a cunt. Oh, God. If it came between fucking Jessica Univ and Nick Avocado, and that was the only two people left on the planet, I'm like, I'm chopping my dick off, y'all. That's mean, but it's the truth. People are gonna sit there and throw a fucking huge bitch fit because King Cobra has slow mode on his comment section. Wah. You still get to interact with Cobra. I'm still making a fucking video for everyone, kicking ass and yeah, slaying sickos and trolls, man. But no, it's like the problem is with the world, and you're pissed because there were two kinds of transgenders. You got the Blair Whites and the Jessica Univs. And that's kind of mean, but like, well, that's the goddamn truth. Blair White's trans surgery is pretty convincing, but no one's buying it with Blair, excuse me, Jessica Univ. I'm a little tipsy. Nah. Blair White, you can buy it with Jessica Univ, not so much. And that kind of becomes their thing, is the mirage. Convincing people, you say it's not about gender, but at the same time, it's about convincing people that you look and act just like the opposite gender. And I'm not trying to be a dick, I'm just trying to understand it and support it. Fuck sickos. Fuck them. That's never gonna change. All these fucking assholes trying this shit to do this other shit to make it look like certain shit are just clowning themselves, dude. Hard. Straight up hard. Like my dick inside your mom's of age pussy. That's good shit. Mm.
Let him and his group.
Because I'm so sick and tired of society telling women what they can and can't do with their own fucking body. And then they go on a fucking power trip. Like, I'm sick and tired of men telling me to shave my armpits so they grow them out nice and hairy. And I'm like, hey, ain't no one stopping you, honey. Because men are told how to shave our balls through the things like Manscaped, so that kind of makes us equal. But what do I know? When his Manscaped does a better job of shaving your cunt than your current blade does. Hashtag equality. I'm just kidding, YouTube. That was horrible. Cause you know why is it when your chick steals your fucking underwear, like, and she's wearing your boxers, your of-age chick and all that? Yes. People are like, that's hot, right? But like the second you steal her underwear and start putting it on, people are like, oh, that man's questioning his sexuality. So dumb, dude. Now go ahead. You put on one of your girlfriend's thongs, and people are going to start calling you a faggot. But the second your girlfriend puts on your boxers, ain't no one going to say shit. You'd be like, you know what? If you're a kinky enough bastard, you're like, as soon as she's done wearing those, you put them back on just so you can have your girlfriend's stank on your crotch too. Like, yeah. Just kidding. That's raunch, dude. Okay, calm down, Cobra. Okay.
Comrades, all of them, the teachers, like the woman we saw in the first video, let them have their way. Let them unfettered act.
As long as you ain't a sicko or a piece of shit, I get it, you know what I'm saying? But like, dude, coming out to your third, fourth grade students, it's a little inappropriate. Well, this thing called separation of church and state, but what the fuck do I know? Because if you think about this, and I'm a dick for saying it, hear me out. If a teacher comes out as trans and one of their students is uncomfortable with it, it could theoretically affect what they're learning. Therefore, it can make it a distraction to their education. And it's so stupid to think about because it's just like you're really going to stretch that far to make it an issue kind of thing. So I hear you, people, 1,000. But theoretically speaking, if your teachers are not allowed to be like, well, I'm Muslim or I'm Christian or whatever, and shove it down your fucking throat, or I'm a Satanist or I'm this and that. It's like fucking no, dude. If they're not allowed to do that, then they shouldn't be allowed to be like, good evening, children. Your teacher coming out as bisexual, pansexual, transsexual, all kinds of sexuals, and you're just like, okay, at some point, you have to ask yourself, why the fuck are these two things in the same sentence? Like, why do children need to fucking hear about your sexuality as an adult? They're children. They don't even have a sexuality yet. They're still learning to be kids and enjoy life, you stupid cunts. Oh, for fuck's sake. Granted, yes, when I was a kid, I crushed on cartoon characters, I'll admit it. Thorn from the original Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost, the original. You know, the one with Billy Ray Cyrus going, Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Kind of thing. But Cobra Queen from Freakazoid, Shigo from Kim Possible, because my sister watched that shit. So it's like, you're in charge of babysitting your sister. And I'm like, we'll pay you. Okay, fine. Can I watch Scooby Doo? And she'd be like, no, I want to watch fucking Disney Channel. So I'm just like, whatever, I'm getting paid for this shit. And then freaking, so yeah, that's how that kind of worked out. But anyways, you're gonna do what I want you to, mix it up here in my little world. Banana rum cream is really good fucking rum, though. I will say that. This is some swinging shit, like some Wayne's World swing. It gets the swing because it's good. It's really good. Like someone took like some banana Laffy Taffy and liquefied it and put rum in it. Oh, that's the taste I could describe it, to be brutally honest with you. It's that fucking good if banana is your thing.
Says to our children, or else our kids will die. It is the most insidious and vile.
Let kids make their own decision, and as long as they ain't sick fucks when they're adults, who gives a shit? If you want to call me a hypocrite for saying that, and after this whole acceptance speech, then that just makes you look like a sick fuck, and that's why King Cobra tells it like it is. Outside of that crap, it's just like, okay, so your kid identifies as trans. Who cares? And people see the original video, they're gonna be at this point like, oh god, Cobra's trolls are so desperate and dumb for attention. Fucking losers. It doesn't stop Cobra. I just keep making videos and telling it like it is.
Of emotional blackmail imaginable. And it's made all the more sinister by the fact that Buttigieg is the one who is getting kids killed. Him and the other gender ideologues. They're the ones doing it. They are getting kids killed. They are depriving children of identity, of truth, of true self-acceptance. And a great many of these kids will die and are dying because of it. And it's their fault. The groomers, it's their fault. Now let's get to our 5 headlines. You ever wondered how big tech knows so much about you? 3 words: free email services. When you click accept on those terms and conditions, you're giving that free email provider the go-ahead to scan and analyze your email. Free email services are data hoarders. I switched to StartMail because I was done letting big tech make billions by selling the information in my email. StartMail keeps my email private, period. It's simple as that. Every email can be encrypted, even if the recipient doesn't use encryption. When you delete an email in StartMail, it's gone forever, never to be seen again. And StartMail uses their own servers, which means they can't be put out of business. So switching to StartMail is also, it's easy, it's seamless. You can easily transfer all of your current email data. So there's no starting from scratch. You don't have to worry about that. You get unlimited anonymous aliases. This feature protects your main email address from spam and phishing attacks. So when you're giving your email to a company, but you want to protect your identity, StartMail can generate a shareable alias email so people can't sell your information, and they can be deleted anytime you want. Your cybersecurity has never been more at risk or more important. So keep your private information private with StartMail. Sign up today and you'll get 50% off your first year. Go to startmail.com/Walsh. That's StartMail with a T, START, mail.com/Walsh for 50% off your first year. Startmail.com/Walsh. All right. Let's see. First of all, I have to address something. I think is the most important thing of the day to mention. A controversy that's been brewing. Yesterday, I went out with my family to a lake nearby. The lake was like 40 degrees, but the kids, they still went swimming because kids are weirdly impervious to pain. Actually, they're kind of both. I was thinking about this yesterday. The kids are weirdly impervious to pain, but also overly sensitive to it at the same time. So my kid.
Want to know how my friend Rachel made $25,520.81 in a single month selling mugs, hoodies, and other merch? And how she typically didn't pay 1 penny for her products until after she sold them? This might very well be the fastest and easiest way to start making sales online. Each product takes as little as 10 minutes to launch without being a techie or a designer and without stacking boxes in your garage or apartment. Watch over her shoulder as she creates and launches one of these products.
An ad.
My kids will swim in a freezing lake, or they'll like fall 40 feet out of a tree and then pop up like nothing happened. But then 5 seconds later, they'll get a.
Conservatives love to use fear to manipulate the masses, whereas Democrats like to use logic to some degree. Both sides are logical, but they do it in a way that's stupid because it's like logically they think they're being logical, but they're really not. Being an independent in today's society is so goddamn frustrating. Because Democrats and Republicans are both fucking stupid. That's just.
Paper cut and scream like somebody shot an arrow through their hand. Anyway, so we were there and I'm lounging, I'm vibing, as the kids would say, and my wife snapped a photo, again, as always, to shame me. And this photo has elicited mockery on Instagram, but I have no shame. So here it is. You can see I have the Birkenstock sandals with socks that I'm wearing out in public. The chinos, the ball cap. That you may not like. This is what I got to tell you. You may not like it. You may not agree with it. But this is peak male fashion right here. You know what this is? It's White Dad Summer 2.0. It's already begun. And it's going to get wild this year. It's going to get absolutely wild. White Dad Summer. It means not only that are you dressed to the nines.
Can we stop making our fashion statements about the color of our skin? White Dad Summer, black person dressing. Like, fuck off, dude.
All the time, like I am, but you're partying all night, every night. And by that, I mean from when the kids go to bed until 9:15, when you fall asleep on the couch. And by
No kids, no responsibilities apart from my own, so yeah.
partying, I mean nothing that resembles partying at all. That's what White Dad Summer is all about. All right. One other thing I also have to note, not related, but also important, is if you have not signed up for for my newsletter, where you can hear all kinds of interesting insights about my fashion and other important news-related items as well, you can go to mattwalshreport.com. I believe is the URL, right? Yeah, mattwalshreport.com and sign up for my newsletter. It comes out once a week, every Friday. And if you're not signed up for it yet, mattwalshreport.com, get signed up. Okay. Let's start here. This is from Breitbart. It says, former President Donald Trump endorsed celebrity doctor Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania's U.S. Senate race on Saturday after his initial pick, Sean Parnell, dropped out amid a contentious custody battle with his estranged wife last fall. Trump said his endorsement of Oz.
Like, I'm very Republican when it comes to gun rights. I'm Republican, but when it comes to abortion and marijuana, I'm very Democrat on that issue. So like I said, I'm an independent. We should have gun rights, abortion rights, legal marijuana. Like, there are far worse things to be doing with your time than smoking of the devil's lettuce. Like,
It's all about winning elections in order to stop the radical left maniacs from destroying our country.
the radical left, about the radical system, period. I'm so sick and tired of these conservative fucks and these fucking Democratic fucks who are sitting there like, fuck the Democrats, no, fuck the Republicans, and both sides are screaming, fuck the radicals. But it's like nobody ever stops and thinks it has nothing to do with your political party, you stupid motherfucker. It has to do with a crumbling society addicted to our fucking cell phones, fucking sitting there making it about your religion instead of the political issue. Or making it about your skin tone. And it's just like, it's so stupid, dude. It is so fucking stupid. These liberals and their satanic ways, all these, like, dude, I'm sick of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't say shit because it's like, if I'm like, hey, you know what? Satan's just misunderstood. Y'all are fucking two-faced hypocrites on a lot of things. It makes me look like an asshole for telling it like it is. Oh, look, banana rum cream. That's some good rum, man. And one of my fans gave me a bottle of vodka, and then they've been keeping it in the freezer. But I'm not in a rush to get to that. Because I got a shit ton of beer and some energy drink to get through. Look, okay, Cobra, the banana rum's cute, but let's see a drink combo. That is good banana rum. But yes, a drink combo. Vintage. Fuck you, Teespring. Customized girl. Where it's at, motherfucker. See that? See that? That is a vintage potion time glass, an original. Yes, these are collectibles amongst my fans, dude. I ordered one because I was like, yo. But then customized girl ended up being my savior on that because Teespring wanted to throw a bitch fit because I'm like, fuck incels and fuck these man hating cunts. Well, I'm the asshole for trying to fight for gender equality, right? Like, the women and men need to be nicer to each other, dude. You get some tactical soap for the dudes, smell good for the ladies. Just be a gentleman. Be a gentleman, wait patiently. And ignore society trying to brainwash us. Like, oh, all women want is assholes. All dudes want is big tits. I mean, that's kind of bullshit because nobody says crap when a chick wants a big dick until she fucks it, and then she gets called a slut for it. So I'm kind of like, what? We got some beer foam from that mango cart. We're gonna mix mango cart with some peach Red Bull. That sounds just delectable, doesn't it, YouTube? Yes, it does. But the foam is foaming up, dude, so we gotta let that defoam. Look, Cobra's giving his glass a blowjob. No jokes aside, though. So we got some peach Red Bull, Wayne's World, and some mango cart. That's what it looks like. Oh, look at that! Isn't that a pretty little pint glass? We'll probably fit some more Red Bull in there, just a little bit. There we go. Yes, that's most definitely what the freak is up. There we go. Now I got equal parts. We got equal parts mango carts and some peach Red Bull. Mango carts and peach Red Bull. Oh. Oh. God damn it, that's good. I've been very fortunate with my mixology skills to have come up with some really fucking delicious drink combos. Some mango cart golden road mixed with Red Bull peach. I want to call it a mango peach cobra. There we go. We named it. We drank in it. Yeah. 1 second.
Trump said in a statement, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has a tremendous opportunity to save America by electing the brilliant and well-known Dr. Mehmet Oz for the United States Senate. I have known Dr. Oz for many years, as have many others, even if only through his very successful television show. Trump touted the thousands of life-saving heart operations Oz has performed throughout his medical career, and the 8 New York Times bestsellers he authored. Trump also pointed to Oz's pro-life views, right, and his strength on the border, election fraud, and the military as reasons for his endorsement. Trump said, Dr. Oz is pro-life, very strong on crime, the border, election fraud, our great military, and our vets, tax cuts, and will always fight for and support.
That's gonna curdle, and I did that on purpose. Not even reading the chat, but someone was telling me to just pour this banana shit in there right quick. And that's good shit right there, YouTube. Oh, that looks gnarly, dude. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That looks gnarly, dude. Oh, that looks gnarly. Took a current drink combo and threw in some banana rum, dude. And the cream in that rum made it curdle. Curdle in the girdle. Ah, jeez. When you're discussing certain political views, it helps to get as stupid as you possibly can. But at some point, you're going to realize that there's just certain things you're never gonna fully understand, and that's just fine. Oh yeah. Mm. Okay, analysis time. That banana rum, it it did what you call it, curdle. There we go. When I mixed it with the mango cart and the Red Bull, but honestly, the mango cart and the peach Red Bull with the banana rum, super tasty, dude. The curdling is a weird texture, but outside of that, the flavor on that ain't half bad. Cobra's peaches, banana, mango, cream. That's two drink combos right there. And like that's just two out of like so many, dude. There's so many different soda pops, liquors. The combinations are virtually endless. You start mixing this combo with that combo. Drink combos where it's at, dude. Fuck. Oh, good gracious, YouTube. I cannot control how my trolls act. All I can control is how I react to it.
Our undersea Second Amendment. He will ensure America will become energy independent again. Dr. Oz also passionately believes in high quality education and protecting parent involvement throughout the process. Okay, none of that, just so you know, none of that is remotely true at all. Dr. Oz is and has always been pro abortion, anti gun. He's
What? You mean you can't be pro abortion and pro gun? Fucking sacrilegious bastard fucks. Don't even get me started on the pro gun argument, because I'll fucking say some shit that'll piss you off. Cause I know I'm right. I have a way of being able to argue both sides with most things and come to the conclusion that's fair. Within certain things, fuck sickos, dude. I'll drink to that. That is a wild drink combo, dude. That banana rum curdled on top of the beer and the Red Bull. That is ridiculous. This drink is for 21 and up, of course, but we got some mango carts. some peach edition Red Bull, and blue Chair Bay banana rum cream. That is a crazy drink combo, dude. It's like 2 drink combos in one, which some people might call that lazy drink combo making. I say fuck them.
Talking about this publicly many times now. Maybe when he started running for Senate, he experienced a conversion on all of these issues all at once.
You're running for Senate. Good. Vader running for Senate. Senator Palpatine. Good, Vader.
But that's going to make you a little bit skeptical. I mean, I don't know how old Dr. Oz is. He's let's say his mid-60s at least.
Yeah,
So,
it's
guys,
only a state of mind. Who gives a fuck how old you are? Fuck sickos within that matter. Because if there are some people who are gonna try to twist that, like, it's really how you depend on what you're depending on, like with your circumstances and your deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck sickos. That is some gnarly shit, dude. That banana rum, it curled on top of the Red Bull and the mango cart. The mango cart and the peach Red Bull. That's crazy, dude. That is a funky ass combination, bro. That's just like, bro, that looks gross. But then you sip on it and you're like, ooh. As gross as it looks, this is actually a really good combination. Like, very tropical tasting. You like bananas, peaches, and mangoes. Like creamy little bites in the drink, kind of like boba tea, but not quite. Never had that stuff, but I'd try it just to see what all the fuss is about. Fuck sickos. Let's have a drink of this one again, yes. Yeah, that's a weird combination. You get past the texture of it. The flavor combination is quite delicious, but the texture of it's like, ooh. The texture of it's a bit weird, but I actually think it turned out pretty good. Like, the texture doesn't bother me on that so much. Because it's like the banana, the peach, and the mango are quite delicious. You get here's your caffeine, here's your alcohol, and here's the weird factor. The creaminess of the banana cream rum makes it curdle like that. Especially when you mix it with the caffeine of the Red Bull peach. That's some crazy shit. One second. That's a creepy looking. It could be creepier, to be honest. You're looking at this string combo like, ew, what?
Mid-60s, has a certain point of view for his entire life, and then decides to run for office as a Republican, and all at once, magically, look at that. It's a road to Damascus moment. What a coincidence. No, Dr. Oz is without a doubt a full-on leftist, not just like leans liberal establishment Republican type. He is a leftist. And I'll play a video in a second that proves it. He is a far left leftist. He is actually about as.
If you're an independent like me, watching this is exhausting. I hate sickos. I happen to agree with some of the things the left and the right preach. And I think radical politics is fucking stupid because we're always being told about how radical the left is or how radical the right is. And it's just like radical politics exists on both sides.
Left as you can be. He's on the cutting edge of leftism right now, or damn near it at least. And I mean, we don't even. There are so many problems with Dr. Oz. We don't even need to mention the fact that he's not at all qualified to be senator. The fact that he was a TV doctor for 20 years. I don't really see the correlation between that and being an effective senator. But then again, senators don't really do much anyway, so I guess anyone could be qualified for it. So that's not my problem with him. My problem is that he is a far leftist. That's my issue. That Donald Trump decided to endorse. Now, I've heard over the weekend many excuses for Donald Trump because there are people on the right, lots of people on the right, who are always ready and eager to make excuses for Donald Trump because we've decided, and this has been the case for ever since.
Just like the assholes who make excuses for Joe Biden. But I didn't say that. I agree with Joe Biden. Double barrel shotguns kick ass, but that's all I'm saying on that. Outside of that, I don't give a shit who the fucking president is. As long as they ain't a sick fuck. As long as they give a shit about this country. You know? Where's the politician who could just sit down and have a beer with them? And just like, yeah. I know, I feel what you're saying, man. I don't want to make your shit better. You know what I'm saying? You too. That's just my opinion. Not some corporate fat cat, fucking corporate fat fuck, son of a bitch, chomping on a cigar. Wall Street crony, son of a bitch. Sitting there like, yeah, 1% gave me all this money. Yeah.
Trump was on the scene as a political figure. It's been decided, generally speaking, by the right that Trump is never responsible for anything that he does. It's all like any mistake is always somebody else's fault. And so,
meaning that all the bullshit that you hear about Trump or Biden is just that bullshit. That it's just popular to hate the president. And that's the fucking cold truth of it.
the excuse that I'm hearing for Trump is that, oh, it's his advisors. Those damned advisors again. Well, maybe
Yeah, those goddamn sons of bitches.
start asking, first of all, if it is his advisor's fault, why is he so terrible at hiring advisors? And second of all, is he not capable of analyzing these things for himself and seeing that Dr. Oz, I mean, it took me 5 minutes to discover that Dr. Oz is a leftist.
The leftist, oh jeez. Oh jeez. Oh my god, you guys. These are firework white owls. We have the cherry blast, sparkling wine, and rocket raspberry. These were sent to me. Thank you for the cigars. I tried the cherry one. It was delicious. So we got 2 freshly unwrapped cigars to try later on. Not sure which one I want to have yet. But there's that. I go outside for that fun now. I tried fighting the non-smoking at my last apartment. It didn't work. I was just like, well, son of a bitch. And it's just like, just go outside, have a couple puffs, go back at it. You know what I'm saying? It'll get you out of your chair, away from the front of your computer, watching fucking political videos of dumbasses on the internet, getting more depressed because you see how fucking fucked up society really is. And there ain't a goddamn thing you can do about it except bitch about it and be like, well, this is how I feel about it. Drink combos. Cut to like Cobra a little bit more wasted. It's like, well, that's how we do it, tubes, and fuck sickos, and ends the video. And that's the truth of it, dude. That's all I can do. I can't force the fucking world to fucking hate sickos and give a fuck about the homeless. You know what I'm saying? Just like you can't force the fucking people around you to accept trans people and what have you. And I'm not trying to be a dick about it. Like, the world could be a better place. Fuck suicide and fuck mass shootings. I have purpose in life. I make wands. I sell tactical soap. I sell my sick merchandise. Just because you don't have purpose in your life now doesn't mean you won't find it. It takes you longer sometimes. Top off our glass with some Bud Light, baby. Yeah.
And I haven't known him for my entire life, or I haven't known him for years like Trump has. So I don't buy that excuse. I also don't buy the excuse that well, the other guy, the other people, there are no good candidates in the race right now for Senate on the Republican side in Pennsylvania, and they're all a bunch of establishment milquetoast types. And so
it's all part of the establishment, man. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. What matters is if you're independent and you can hear both sides of the argument. Fuck sickos. You want to argue with me on that, then that just makes you look suspicious. You know what I'm saying, YouTube?
there is no good option.
Dude, the texture of that drink combo is so funky, dude. And I'm sitting there refilling it with Bud Light, like, it's one of the original Potion Time glasses. Love it. Nastiest, funkiest looking drink combo. When it curdles, it has the texture of throw up, so it can be a bit weird to stomach. But the taste of it, you kind of overlook the texture when you taste it. That's how it does with like curdled mixed drinks. Ooh-wee. That's how I look at it. Like if it's good, I'm just like, oh hey, cool. Banana, peaches, and mangoes. That sounds tasty. That's curdled. Okay, hold on. Mm, mhm. Culture is connected through music and through food, to be honest.
Can believe. I certainly believe that. So, but if that's the case, then either you endorse nobody, or if you are going to endorse Dr. Oz for some reason, which I don't know why you would, because there's
Dr. Oz. I am Oz. Where's Dorothy and Toto? Hey, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, you fucking bastard.
no way he's the best. I don't care who the other guys are. There's no way that Dr. Oz is better than them because it can't get much worse. But if you are going to do it, then just say that he's the lesser of two evils. That he's not great, but then again, he's more likely to win in the general. Whatever your argument is, just be honest about it. Don't try to put him forward as a pro-life champion. So, if you want to know what Dr. Oz is all about, let's go back to one of his. And this is the great thing about.
Now, that's just it. If you want to know what Dr. Oz is about, he says, not trying to be a dick, but if like Dr. Oz, let's say hypothetically, is a non-Christian type, people like Matt Walsh are quick to discredit the doctor because they don't follow the same belief. And that tends to be the core problem with not all, but the majority of a lot of Christian types. These Jesus freaks who are on YouTube, like, well, if you don't automatically worship Jesus the same way they do, well, then you're a piece of shit and you're a heathenist. And you're going to hell for your sins. And I'm over here like, yeah, but ACDC said hell ain't a bad place to be.
The guy who's been on TV forever is that you can just go and watch the tape. He has addressed all of these issues extensively in interviews and on his own show, and he's made his views very clear.
I know that feeling. Making your views very clear on your YouTube channel. That dude, it's curdling. That is gnarly. You can't tell me, dude. That ain't gnarly. Look at that. Ah, jeez. You can't tell me.
This is from, I believe, several years ago, in fact. So Dr. Oz, before it was as popular as it is now on the left to promote trans kids, before that,
Trans kids shouldn't even be a thing. Like, okay, if you want to identify as trans and that's your shtick, fine. You shouldn't be allowed to have surgery till you're 18 and you've gone through the gender you were assigned at puberty. Only reason I say this is because there are so many freaking health consequences. Like, okay, let's say, for example, you have a boy who identifies as a girl, but he's only like 8 or 9 years old. So you give him puberty blockers. You mutilate his genitalia. And you make him into the girl he wants to be, fabulous, whatever, right? Now, when it comes time for this dude to hit puberty naturally, he's being hit as the opposite sex, and it causes him to contract cancer because that's not natural. Do the research on puberty blockers, people. Like, I'm about to go outside and possibly smoke one of these freaking cigars. I got a couple I can puff on, so I'm not worried about it, but like, freaking yeah, dude. And if you try to talk to people about this logic, they just call you a fucking transphobe. And it's like, listen here, you stupid son of a bitch. Nobody is saying anything about your fucking trans bullshit. All we are saying is these are facts. Not allowing kids to transition. You want them to transition healthily, or do you want them to, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing of it. If you truly want to support trans kids, then you have to say to yourself, let them transition as the sex they were assigned. And then once they are 18, 19, 20 years old, and they decide they're still the opposite sex and they have the money to do it, once they're of age, legally consenting adults, that's the healthiest way to do it. And if you want to argue with me, then okay, fine, that's your prerogative. But look at puberty blockers, dude. Puberty sucks. I need a beer. Oh wait, only in the UK, right? Or in like Wyoming when it was like 18 and above to drink, but then they changed it to 21 because the rest of the country went that way. Wyoming was one of the last states to raise drinking age to 21. Ain't that a bitch?
Doctor, that's why I said he's on the cutting edge of leftism. Here he was a few years ago on a show singing the praises of childhood transgenderism.
What if your son told you he was meant to be a she?
She always knew that
They're
she
just doing it for attention.
is a girl.
Would you let your child become the opposite sex?
Talk to me about why you decided to have a double mastectomy at age 14.
Inside the lives of transgender kids.
This show is going to be controversial for a lot of people, challenging your beliefs about what it means to be male or female. The word you'll hear today is transgender.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm not trying to be a dick. But I gotta have a cigar. Right here, a little. Okay, they're not really transgender. They're just doing it for attention, and because they're being shoved. That's just it. Letting kids naturally decide that they're transgender versus it's being forced down their throats. So some kids feel like they have to accept it in order to get attention and acceptance from their peers. I'm just like, that is fucking horse crap. I'm all for supporting transgender rights, but when I was the awkward heterosexual goth kid growing up in high school, I got called a fucking faggot and I got called a fucking tranny and a retard for painting my nails and dressing in goth makeup and jamming to Cradle of Filth and Ozzy Osbourne and what have you. And I said to my haters, fuck you, it's never gonna change. All the haters who made fun of me for identifying as a cobra demon growing up, now it's like now in society, identifying as a demon is a thing. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, but it's totally just Josh and his Asperger's, right? Fuck sickos. And all these fuckers who identify as demon, it ain't shit, dude. Not one of them has ever done anything satanic. They're just doing it for attention. It's fucking stupid, to be honest. You got people who identify as non binary demons, and I'm like, have you ever even done a satanic rites? Have you even carved wands? Do you have your own fucking cult? Okay, that last one that I just mentioned is not necessary, but if you're a true demon or a Satanist or what have you, you gotta be able to make your own wands, practice your own magic, and maintain your fucking energy.
Gender. It describes people whose sex on the outside doesn't match who they are on the inside. Now imagine your child is transgender. What would you do?
No, I'd have a serious discussion with them. I'd be like, you just saying that because everybody in your school and everybody in society is saying you have to follow this narrative, otherwise you're an asshole, you're a meanie, you're a bully, and you want to be a good person and you want to be included, so you just do this because like I said earlier, like let's just say your dad is into baseball. So you as the kid, you join the female male baseball team of your school. You know what I'm saying? Let's say your dad's into baseball and you as the female, you want to join the female baseball team. So it's just like, oh, hey, your school doesn't have a female baseball team. So then you fight for gender equality. Women's lib. Get it. Yeah. You finally get a female baseball team, and now you've had your female baseball team that you've had to fight for equality for several fucking years. Just to have a bunch of dudes who chop their dicks off and get some fake tits and inject themselves with estrogen and call themselves females are being forced onto your team instead of given their own transgender league. They kick the crap out of the opposing team, which that's all fine and dandy. That helps your team win. But for the women in sports, it's like nobody wants to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Like, I support women and I support trans women. Y'all should both have rights. That's how I feel about it. But at the same time, that's within reason. That's just my personal opinion. It's like women shouldn't be allowed to take advantage of men, and transgendered women shouldn't be allowed to take advantage of the system. Cisgendered women shouldn't be allowed to take advantage of the system and men, and then transgendered women shouldn't be allowed to abuse the system either. That's just how I feel about it. And if that makes me an asshole, well, kiss my Asperger's. It's kind of hard for people to sit there and demand for rights and to sit there and say, well, I support this and but like everyone who fights for your cause is fucking, you know what I'm saying, YouTube? And no disrespect to the trans community, but that's exactly how it is. You got these fucking assholes who identify as a goddamn cell phone emoji, and I'm over here like, what, YouTube? Okay, if you want to get transgendered surgery to change your sex and make yourself a woman if you are a man, okay, fine. But how the fuck are you going to change yourself into an animal or a goddamn tree? At some point, you have to be like, this is nonsense. Y'all are being silly. We need to be realistic about this. But I can't say that, YouTube, because that makes me a transphobe. And it's like, even after I get done saying, hey, fuck transphobia, fuck racism, fuck sexism, fuck sickos. You want to be a dude and you want to identify as the opposite sex? That's on you, man. Hold up, I'm gonna restock.
Our lives as parents are first defined by the words, it's a good.
But this conversation that I'm having with you right now is forcing people to have an uncomfortable conversation about gender. This kind of conversation is forcing people to have some really uncomfortable conversations about gender. So you got a bunch of women who are screaming about how unfair it is that trans women are beating them in sports. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but having tits and a vagina doesn't define you as a woman. Okay, so then why the fuck are we allowing dudes who get these things to call themselves women at the same argument? You know what I'm saying? Like, And I'm not trying to be a dick, but like trans people, much like women, have had to fight for acceptance in our society. This is why all of a sudden now it's like, okay, if you're a dick, if you're a fucking dick to straight white cisgendered men or just straight cisgendered men in general, nobody says shit. They're like, oh my God, you're straight and you're cisgendered. You're the reason why. Let's fight systematic oppression with minor systematic oppression because that'll solve everything, right? Instead of just being like, why can't we all get along? Long as you ain't a sick, fucking, nasty, fucking faggot bastard fuck. And I don't mean faggot in the gay sense. Okay? Get it twisted. Fuck the assholes. And fuck sickos. I don't give a shit if you're gay, straight, lesbian, trans, whatever. Long as you ain't a sicko, then I have no reason to judge. And if you seriously want to argue with King Cobra on this shit, then you have fucking mental problems, my dude. Because I've been very vocal about this shit on my fucking YouTube channel. Fuck the assholes who touch children, who touch dead bodies, who touch animals and their own relatives. That shit's fucking disgusting. Everyone's talking about being acceptive. And it's like, as long as they don't do that nasty shit, as long as they don't do that nasty fucking shit, outside of that, I'm like, you want to fuck some gay non-binary weirdo who fucking identifies as 10 different sexes? As long as they're of age and is consenting and they're alive and non-related, I don't care. Morals, people.
Or it's a boy. Could you make a decision to let your child live as the other sex, even alter their body? It's an area of intense debate. Today, you'll meet families coping with this astonishing.
Oh my God, get the fuck out of here with that.
Reality. What does it mean to be a boy? What does it mean to be a girl? Those two simple questions are infinitely complex and gut-wrenching for parents of children who are born transgender.
I'm a girl, and I have a penis.
8-year-old Josie was born Joseph. Physically, she's a boy, but from the time she could talk, Josie knew she was a girl.
Doesn't get any better, by the way.
I call bullshit.
See the entire episode, you can stomach it, which is on YouTube right now. Lest you try to make any excuses for Doc.
No, that's what it is, YouTube. Now, if you see a cute single mom, you can't even like flirt with her through her kid. Like, you make a fart joke to make her kid laugh. And she's like, oh my God, you're funny. You make my kid laugh. You want to grab some coffee? No, that's just ruined because fuck sickos, dude. Like you're sitting there on the fucking subway, sitting there making fart noises, like. Hold on 1 second. Making fart noises to make people laugh. You don't even care. You're like, hey, adults can laugh at farts too. Fuck sickos. Adults can laugh at farts too. You get to that point where it's just like, oh my god. If you laugh at that, you're so immature. And I'm just like, what? I smell Asperger's, madam. Okay. Yeah. I never actually do unless it was legal, only because I don't want to lose my freedom. That's honestly how I feel about that. Like if it were perfectly legal to kill sickos, I'd be doing that shit left and right. I'd be like, oh, it's legal.
And say, well, he's just talking about the issue. He's taking an objective view of it. Well, even that would be terrible because you can't take an objective view of children being sexually abused, which is what this is. There's no, well, you know, these kids are being sexually abused, but let's think of it objectively. That is already terrible, but that's not even what he's doing. I mean, it's very clear in the episode that he is promoting this. He is legitimizing and validating it using his doctor label to validate this stuff. And that's it's very effective in lots of people's minds. I mean, there are a lot of people who, for years, have been sitting around watching these kinds of people on TV, and they see this stuff promoted, and they think, well, hey, if Dr. Oz says it's fine or that it's valid, then it must be. He says that, well, what does it mean to be a boy? It's infinitely complex. It's not complex, actually. It's not complex at all. It's very simple. And you must know that as a medical professional. So you watch that and you think, like, this guy is running for Senate as a Republican. And he just got an endorsement from the previous Republican president. The Republican Party is in shambles. In shambles right now. But when that, I mean, if that becomes accepted, that becomes fully mainstream accepted on the right or among Republicans, then it is over. And I mean it. It's done. It's over. Because that has to be a deal breaker. We could get into his positions on abortion, gun rights. I mean, all of it is bad. But if you're endorsing trans children, the concept of there being such a thing as a trans child, that has to be where the line is drawn.
Thank you. Even though you, sir, are Christian and I am satanic, I agree with you. The whole fucking rant that I was going on earlier is that children do not fully understand what it's like to be trans. All they want is the attention and the glamour from being it. They have no idea what it's like to fully transition. And the fucking idiots idiots. The fucking idiots who are shoving it down their fucking faces. If you don't shove it down their faces, you're a transphobe. And I'm just like, I support trans rights, but we gotta be reasonable about this shit. I gotta take a piss. 1 second. Rock and roll! Oh, man. Sorry about that, YouTube. Phew. Anyways, I'm like, Gothy, I just take you into the bathroom, like, Oh, hey, you sick bastards.
Breaker. That's it. And if it's not, and if we let that become the standard in the Republican Party, then it's done. It's over. And then you have Democrats, and then on the other side you have Democrats, and that's all that there is. And I know you might say that we're already in that position where you've got the Democrat Party and then the Democrat-like party. I would say that we're not there yet. There is a battle within the Republican Party right now over, it's a kind of a civil war. It really depends on who wins that battle. Because Ron DeSantis is also a Republican, and he obviously is not endorsing transgenderism in children.
It's like you can't support transgender rights without saying maybe kids should wait till they're 18 to transition for health reasons without being called a transphobe. And I'm just like, yeah, but if giving children puberty blockers can cause cancer and fuck with puberty and shit like that, which causes more health problems for the individual, then maybe they should wait till they're 18 or older to receive transgender surgery. But what the fuck do I know? Yeah, I'll take me a couple squizzles of beer and go outside and smoke this here mini cigar. Yeah, like 25 minutes and 59, almost 26 minutes into the video, and then the whole video is an hour and 6 minutes long. Ah, society is so exhausting. So if you see me drinking excessively through this video, now you know why. 'Cause society can suck my dick. Fuck sickos. Fuck the radical left trying to legalize sick shit. Mm. Fuck the haters. To be brutally honest. They got plenty of beer. For the video response. Fuck sickos, man. Something who's just worth the wait, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. 25 minutes out of an hour and 6 minute long. We got 6 hours. Make sure we're not going too long. Okay, now we're at 2. All right, so it won't take us too long to wrap this shit up. I'm sick and tired of our society grooming children. We overly sexualize women and children, and it's inappropriate in our society. There's nothing sexy about kids. That shit's disgusting. But if you're an of age female, well, that's a different story.
So you've got two sides. The two sides of the Republican Party kind of battling it out right now. And if the side that wants to mainstream this kind of stuff,
Yeah. Got a hair in my mouth. Yeah, okay, we're good. Fucking nah, dude. Our society's messed up.
gender ideology, if they win, then it's done. Politically, it's done. All right, let's go to this from the Federalist. It says a jury refused on Friday
Okay, Matt Walsh, let's see what you got.
convict any of the 4 men standing trial for supposedly plotting to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer after strong evidence that
Oh my God, of course it was a man versus woman type of situation. Where man is the automatic enemy and women is the automatic fucking female victim. I'm so sick of it, dude. Allegedly, woman said this, man said that, allegedly. And I'm sick of it. I ain't gonna do nothing stupid about it except for smoke a cigar and drink some beer and be like, you know what, that's life. Fuck them. I support the idea of killing sick fucks, and I will sleep better at night knowing I'm a decent motherfucker and all my trolls picking on me are the miserablest pieces of shit on the planet. That's the truth. Not trying to be too long with the video. I get a 6 hour limit before I gotta restart on YouTube. So yes, wrap it up here in this here video. Yeah, but this will be less than excuse me. It'll be less than 6 hours for this video response. Excuse me. Shit, fuck. There we go. Yep. Oh, shit balls. Excuse me. Ugh. Ugh. Ah, yeah. Ah, there we go. Oh, shit, fuck. I'm trying to get the sneezing down on my channel. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Excuse me. Sometimes you can't control a good sneeze. Shit. Mm. No. Oh, shit, fuck. Oh. There we go. Liquefaction. Every generation gets liquefied to some degree. Drink combos. How long am I into this video? 26 minutes and 26 seconds. When it's an hour and 6 long. The only time I don't agree with Matt Walsh is because he's one of those conservative, overly Christian types. And I'm just like, here we go again. At the same time, as long as he ain't a sicko, if you want to be a overly conservative Christian type, as long as you ain't a sick fuck, I don't give a shit, dude. Yeah. About to go out and have a puff on this here cigar. Mini cigars. Mm. Definitely crack open another beer when I come in. Pick up my mess. Smoke break, motherfuckers. Fuck trolls.
FBI tricked them into the plan. After 20 days of trial, jurors determined that Daniel Harris and Brandon Caserta were not guilty of felony charges of conspiracy to unlawfully seize, confine, kidnap, abduct, and carry away, and hold for ransom and reward or otherwise the governor of the state of Michigan. Jurors could not agree on the fates of Adam Fox and Barry Croft Jr., the other two, so those men left the trial with no verdict and with the possibility of being brought to trial again. Prosecutors representing the U.S. Department of Justice argued that the group of men were anti-government extremists who schemed to violently take down Whitmer for her role in promoting COVID-19 tyranny in Michigan. But right now, because the defense argues, I think correctly, that this was not their plot. Okay, the four men, they didn't come up with this. This wasn't their plot. The FBI came up with it and recruited them into it. The FBI came up with a plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan and then went and suggested it to other people and tried to recruit them into it. And so who do you blame for that? You blame the FBI. And that's why this verdict, or, you know, in two cases, kind of a non-verdict, as it stands right now, this is the right decision. We'll see what happens if there's a retrial or something. Hopefully there isn't. But my point is, if you're really worried about the police state or, you know, law enforcement abuses or whatever it is, you should be happy with this result tentatively. You should be happy with it, because this is without a doubt law enforcement abuse, and there's a whole lot of it that happens with the FBI. But you don't find that on the left. I mean, the left was very upset that they want all these guys to go to jail forever. And I think this is something that our side gets wrong, and that I get wrong. Or at least we talk about this in a way that's imprecise. Because we often say, and I have said, that the left is anti-police. Well, I mean, they aren't. Surely. I kind of wish they were.
Anti-abuse of power is more like it.
Oh, I mean, it's not good to be anti-cop. You shouldn't be. But at least that would be better than what they actually are. Because at least if you're just anti-cop in general, you're basically an anarchist, then that's a consistent principle, at least. And it would mean that you would be skeptical. You would be constantly skeptical, probably overly skeptical of law enforcement. But it would mean that when there's actual law enforcement abuse happening on any...
Law enforcement's been pretty cool with your boy King Cobra. I can't speak for everyone. But like, this guy's autistic. He deals with online bullies. He's just doing his thing. It is what it is. I feel like blaming corrupt cops is just like blaming the corrupt civilians who ruin it for moments like BLM. Not trying to be racist, but there are some assholes who ruin it for BLM, just like there are some racist assholes who ruin it for being white.
To anybody, you would be there and you'd be very critical of it if you're just anti-cop across the board. Again, not the right approach, but it's better than what we actually get from the left, which is that their view of law enforcement and of police, it really depends on who's on the other side.
To stop being racist and sexist.
Picture this. You're walking down a dimly lit street late at night, and all of a sudden, two attackers jump out of nowhere. What are you going to do?
Stop being sexist and racist towards each other.
Like, who's the person being arrested? Who's the person potentially being abused, exploited, whatever? Well, I mean, when you look at the way they react to, you know, George Floyd or Michael Brown or any of these cases, with any of the BLM martyrs, you'd be excused if that's all you saw of the left and of their approach to law enforcement. You'd be excused for thinking that, oh, well, these people just hate the cops, because like even when the police are trying to arrest a violent criminal, in the case of Michael Brown, the violent criminal is trying to kill them, And even then, leftists are not tolerant of the police using any kind of lethal force in response. It seems like from their perspective, if a violent criminal is trying to kill a police officer, it's the police officer's ethical duty to just stand there and allow themselves to be killed. So you see that, it seems like an extreme anti-police bias. But then you go over to the other side and you see a Capitol police officer shooting an unarmed woman in the neck inside the Capitol building, and they're celebrating that. You see the FBI blatantly trying to entrap people into criminal conspiracies, and they're fine with that. So this is not a consistent principle, and that's because on the left there are no consistent principles, period. This is a relativistic view of the world, and so everything is always relative. And that explains, as the Daily Wire reports, leftist MSNBC host Joy Reid tweeted her disgust Friday with the Michigan jury that did not convict 4 men of conspiring to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Reid, as she often does, focused on the race and political leanings of the accused men, arguing that they were not convicted because they're white right-wing extremists. She tweeted, quote, "Unreal. So in America, in the year of our Lord 2022, you can plot to kidnap a Democratic woman governor to stage a show trial and hurt her or worse because you don't like COVID restrictions, and then you can walk as long as you're a white right-wing extremist. Holy jury nullification, Batman." Yes, because when you look at the response to January 6th from the federal government, obviously the only conclusion you can draw is that if you're on the right, law enforcement will just leave you alone. Right, that's the obvious conclusion. By the way, Joy Reid, since we're on the subject, she found other things to racialize as well. That should actually be the name of her show. I don't know what the name of her show actually is, but whatever it is, it should be Racialized with Joy Reid. I think that's a much better name. And here she is this weekend looking at the racial element of the media's focus on Ukraine. Listen.
We haven't witnessed the same type of solidarity for the Yemenis as we do for the Ukrainians. We don't see historic sanctions or global campaigns, corporations like Airbnb and Netflix taking a stand. And this is not to say that we shouldn't care this much for Ukraine, far from it. The point is, we should also care this much for refugees and those facing occupation and war in the Middle East and Asia and Africa, too. The coverage of Ukraine has revealed a pretty radical disparity in how human Ukrainians look and feel to Western media compared to their browner and blacker counterparts, with some reporters using very telling comparisons in their analyses of the war.
It's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles.
The unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
This isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
Civilized. Okay, let's face it. The world is paying attention because this is happening in Europe. If this was happening anywhere else, would we see the same outpouring of support and compassion? But we don't need to ask ourselves if the international response would be the same if Russia unleashed their horror on a country that wasn't white and largely Christian. Because Russia has already done it in Syria. This is a teachable moment for us in the media. We aren't afraid to call out our own industry. There is a lot of soul searching that we need to do in Western media about why some wars and lives seem to matter more than others.
First of all, not to get into semantics, but actually the media did focus. Syria dominated the headlines for months. But all of her criticisms about the media, and their focus on Ukraine, like that, you work for MSNBC. You're one of the drivers of this. And I actually agree, as I argued from the beginning, that the focus on Ukraine is out of proportion with the way we look at other parts of the world. It's not for racial reasons, though. And by the way, if you want to make it racial, well, you could easily look at it from the other end. Why is the media focused on Ukraine so much? Well, yeah, you could say that the victims in this case have it, appear to be white, have a lighter skin tone, and so that's why people are focused on. Okay, well, the bad guys, right? People on the other side, Putin. You could just as easily argue, from the perspective of left-wing media, they prefer this story because they like him as a bad guy. Whereas if you go into other parts of the world, you're going to find that, yes, the victims are not white, but also the bad guys aren't white.
So typical our society, like Putin's the bad guy. Oh my God, fear liberals. I'm so bloody sick of it.
So you could easily look at it that way. If you want to racialize it, becomes a double-edged sword. But really, the racial narrative, either way, it doesn't really explain it. And the fact is that Afghanistan did dominate the headlines for a few months, back around the time of the Afghanistan pullout. It really is up to why. Like, why do we focus on this? So that we focus on Afghanistan, it was Afghanistan, 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 and then we just drop it like a hot potato, move on to the next thing. I mean, it's not like everything is fixed in Afghanistan. It's not like it's better. We just moved on and are talking about something else. Why is that? Well, we should ask the media. We should ask Joy Reid. Go talk to your bosses about that. They're the ones who are determining this. It's not a right-wing conspiracy. It's a corporate media decision. And the corporate media is not run by white right-wingers, I can tell you that. All right, one other thing I got to play for you. This is, we could call it disappointing. Also, not really disappointing because it's totally expected. Sam Elliott is, of course, the famous, iconic Hollywood actor. And a few weeks ago, we gave him some credit because he...
Dude, Sam Elliott and Tim Stones are carrying guns. Why? Making this old man apologize for the way our society is when he himself doesn't affiliate with that crap. Sam Elliott's being forced to apologize when he supports gay rights. And that's what's fucking frustrating about the whole fucking thing.
Asked about this Power of the Dog, which is this artsy Western, terrible, boring movie, very dull movie. I defy you to watch the movie and make it through 15 minutes without falling asleep. And it was nominated for a bunch of awards and everything. And it's about a gay cowboy, and the critics are hailing it because of the gay theme.
Oh, a gay cowboy, so like... I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's just like Brokeback Mountain wasn't enough. Well, you know what? I'm all for people having representation of gay rights and all that. As long as you ain't a sicko, who gives a fuck? But treating everyone who disagrees with it like you're some kind of homophobe is also bullshit.
And everything else. Sam Elliott in a podcast was asked about this movie, and he gave an honest answer. He said he doesn't like it. He doesn't, he just doesn't. He doesn't need those kinds of themes in a western. He likes the more traditional westerns. That was his honest opinion about it. And of course, people were very upset about his honest opinions because he was asked about his opinion of the movie.
Yeah, that's typical our society. We're upset about nobody agreeing with our opinion. The second someone disagrees with it, oh my God, you're a piece of shit.
But
like, okay, we disagree with your traditional roles and we're a pig. We could disagree with your traditional roles and we're a fucking asshole. I'm just like,
just because, as we've learned, just because you're asked about your opinion of something, that doesn't mean that you're actually entitled to give your opinion.
to that, I agree to some degree.
What they want to hear is you repeat the accepted opinion and pretend like it's your own, whether it is or.
I agree with that.
And so people are very upset about that. And Sam Elliott was on a panel a couple days ago, was asked again, and he is now singing a little bit of a different tune. Listen.
Yeah, first.
Here comes Sam Elliott. Oh, jeez. In a fucking society that's being forced to accept gay culture, whether you like it or not. Even if you're against it and you say you're against it, you're a fucking piece of shit. That's how our society sees it, regardless of anything. And it's like, yes, gay culture should be accepted. Fuck sickos. And at the same time, if someone's a bit uncomfortable with a gay Western, they should be allowed to that opinion so long as they support gays and they're not harassing them. And that's why Sam Elliott was crying in this video. He's like, God damn it, I support these homosexuals. I'm just trying to make the world a better place. Show off my amazing chops, my acting skills. Just like, what the fuck? Okay, I don't give a shit if people are gay, straight, lesbian, transsexual. As long as you ain't a sick fuck touching, you know what I'm saying? Do we really gotta say? I want to say it one more time. Fuck the assholes touching children, dead bodies, your own relatives, and animals, and doing it with people who are not consenting. Fuck you, sick faggot fucks. And that's not an insult towards gay people. Like, you know what? I support gay rights 1000%.
I do a podcast whose call letters are WTF.
And you know, like, look at fucking Sam Elliott. He's just like, WTF is the fuck is this shit? The look on Sam Elliott's face, he's just like, oh my god, why am I a part of this shit? I'd rather be doing a commercial for Dodge Ram.
That movie struck a chord with me. And in trying to.
Because the whole gay cowboy thing's already been done. Ropeback Mountain to whatever the fuck Sam Elliott was forced to watch. Like, hey, Mr. Cowboy, let's see how you like them apples.
The guy.
And you're just like, dude, I support it, but don't shove it in my face. And you can't even say that without being called a fucking gay phobe or a transphobe. And I'm like, that's the problem with our society. Is you can sit there and make a video and say, fuck sickos, I support trans and gay rights, and fuck sickos. And some asshole would go on the internet and call you a sicko. and then fucking make it look like you don't support the right causes. And it's just like, fuck them. All you can do is keep doing your thing, man. They want to pull that shit. You pull out with the video like, oh, hey, this is how I really feel, and these trolls are assholes. That's the only way you beat these sad sons of bitches. You want to beat your YouTube trolls? Beat them at their own game, YouTube. They're just as depressed and miserable as you are. That's why they're fucking commenting on your fucking videos. Like, oh, I hate this son of a.
The WTF guy, how I felt about the film. I wasn't very articulate about it. I didn't articulate it very well.
Oh, dude, as a 90s kid, watching Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell in the movie Tombstone, that's what a man's supposed to be. Protect his woman and protect what's right.
And I said some things that hurt people. And
Oh my god. Because fucking Sam Elliott said some shit that offended some people. All he said was, I don't particularly care for that film. I support gay rights, but I don't particularly care for that film because it's not my taste. He gets chastised as this fucking, oh my god, dude. Fucking, I'm like, okay, Sam Elliott could totally support gay rights the same way I support them. As long as you ain't a sick fuck and the people you with are alive, cisgendered, and consenting to it, and of age, who the fuck cares? You want to sit there and be like this weird fucking guy? Like that's your take, dude. I'm so sick and tired of this. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan of Tombstone, Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott. The fucking movie is so good, dude. That movie is a part of my childhood. You get Val Kilmer being like, I'm a huckleberry. And I've had that moment with several of my t-shirts against the trolls who sat there and said, Cobra's this and that. And I'm like, Cobra owns your sad fucking ass, dude. Thanks for giving him free merchandise ideas.
feel terrible about that.
Imagine that. 1 second. Imagine that for 1 second. Sam Elliott's sitting there like, hey man, I support gay rights. I just don't feel comfortable as a straight man. And we can't even have that without it being taken as bigoted or ignorant. And I'm like, okay, let me ask you this. If you're sitting there hosting a play that is strictly straight and a bunch of gays are going, I don't support it. What the fuck are you going to do about it? If you're sitting there doing the same thing, but it's reversed, and you got a bunch of gay folks saying, this play's the next big thing, what the fuck are you going to do about it? you're gonna be like, support it. Sam Elliott's a badass motherfucking actor. Like, he got Sam Elliott and then you got William Neeson. That's the order. Not trying to discredit William Neeson. But even Sam Elliott, you just see on his face, he's like, look, man, I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just trying to live my life.
The gay community has been incredible.
That's just it. All the dudes who have been sexually attracted to Sam Elliott have been nothing but supportive. And instead of being like, wow, fuck you, Sam Elliott's just like, yeah, I'm a sexy motherfucker and I support gay rights. That's exactly how I treat my situation. YouTube. It's like I get a bunch of trans and gay men who are into my shit, and I'm like, you know what? I support it. As long as you ain't a sick fuck towards kids, I don't give a fuck.
My entire career, and I mean my entire career.
Now you got Sam Elliott who's having to fucking mansplain. I hate using that term, but it's just like, here's Sam Elliott being like, my entire career. And it's just like, dude, we get it. You hate sickos. You support gay rights. You're a tough and rough motherfucker, baddest motherfucking actor on the planet. Ain't no one else. Ain't no one else on the planet. Like, I can sit here and have my acting chops between videos. It ain't gonna be shit. Sam Elliott is a motherfucking legend, dude. They're carrying guns, why? I try to do his deep voice and it kind of fails in comparison, but it's close enough.
From before I got started when I was in this town. Friends on every level.
Having all these friends because you're Sam Elliott, you're a famous actor, and the only reason they're friends with you is because you're a famous actor. Only because you're part of that scene, and it's so fucking stupid. Like, Sam Elliott could be in some badass fucking westerns, but the second he disagrees with certain issues, he's canceled. And I'm like, that's what's frustrating about cancel culture, YouTube. Is like, Sam Elliott could totally support gay rights and trans rights. And the second you're just like, oh, wow, I can't believe, the second you're trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. You sit there and like, well, can you believe our society is like this? Or what does Sam Elliott think? And it's just like, dude, it's more than just Sam Elliott trying to keep his badass acting career alive. It's showing people that he ain't homophobic. And as long as you ain't a sick fuck, who gives a shit?
in every job description. Up until
As somebody who has Wyoming ranch hand blood, I respect that side of my family.
today with my agent, my dear friend, my agent of a number of years. And I'm sorry that I hurt any of those friends. And someone,
Here's Sam Elliott just being like, hey man, I'm a badass motherfucker. I'm not trying to fucking hurt anyone. I'm just trying to do my thing and like hang out. And you can't even do that without some fucking pretentious, sensitive ass fuck being like, oh my god, my feelings. This just makes my fucking goddamn motherfucking Cobra merchandise, King Cobra's Fang, more accurate.
I loved. And anyone else. But
Dude, I gotta take a piss. Hold up. And the reason why, no offense to Sam Elliott or anyone, why they're afraid to speak out against these issues is because that's how our society is. You can't say, hey, I support trans rights, but I won't date them without some fucking asshole being like, oh, hey, you're a fucking phobe.
the words that I used.
Is he gonna cry? It looks like he's about to cry. I couldn't keep listening to.
Dude, if I was in Sam Elliott's position, I would cry because our society is so messed up, dude. So messed up.
Watching the clips. I don't know where it goes. It can't go anywhere good from here. It just goes to show, look, these are actors. The characters they portray on screen are fake, of course, and oftentimes do not reflect who they really.
Just because they portray actors on screen doesn't mean the feelings they perceive in real life aren't real. Do you think just because, okay, Sam Elliott's some kind of Western badass actor, that the feelings he doesn't have about how fucking crazy our society is getting ain't real? Or that, whatever, dude, fuck that shit. fucking ridiculous.
At all. So Sam Elliott has made a career playing these kind of gritty, tough, Western badass type figures. And here he is on a panel in Hollywood crying because people had their feelings hurt by his opinion about a movie.
There's a big difference between what Sam Elliott thinks and these sick fucking bastards. 40 minutes out of an hour and 3. I want to keep going for the full hour and 3.
He is apologizing to the people who he hurts, and those are people who were hurt by Sam Elliott's opinion of Power of the Dog. They were hurt because Sam Elliott had an opinion about a movie that they disagreed with. Hurt. We never get any specifics on how this, like, in what way were they hurt? How could they have been hurt by that? But they were. So Sam Elliott grovels and apologizes. It's a damn shame. I mean, he's old. He's in his 70s. He's obviously rich. He's got plenty of money.
Who gives a fuck if Sam Elliott is rich and in his 70s? He's lived life. And he's just upset because our society is overly sensitive about certain things. Like, you can't say, I support gay rights without being told you also have to date them. Otherwise, you're a fucking homophobe piece of shit. And it's just like, okay, there are a good number of gays and straights and LGBTQ plus who are like, fuck sickos. And you know what? I support what you're doing as long as you ain't a sicko. That's reasonable, you know what I'm saying?
And he has everything that he needs to just throw up the middle finger to all of the sensitive cry bully.
Just because Sam Elliott can throw off the middle finger, excuse me. The fucking doesn't mean you have much control over it. The only control you have over it is how you feel. And personally, how I feel about it, I hate sickos. I would sacrifice all the alcohol in the world to end sick fucks. And I'm not just saying. This YouTube artist is at 41 minutes and 27 seconds.
The not even really sensitive, the pretend sensitive cry bullies, and say, you know what, I don't care. But he's not going to do that because he lives in Hollywood, and this is how he himself has been conditioned his whole life. And it won't matter either. It doesn't, it's too late, Sam. You've revealed your actual opinion about something. Cat's out of the bag. And everyone knows the secret now. They know the secret that you actually have your own opinions about things. and God forbid you maybe sometimes enjoy watching movies where there's not LGBT ideology being shoved in your face every second. Like you sometimes prefer to watch movies without that, God forbid. So you've already revealed that. They know it now. And you can cry and apologize all you want. It's not going to change it. Could have kept your dignity. Decided to give it up, and you get nothing in return. Same old story. If you haven't heard of Ben's book club, now's your chance to get signed up. Last month, he took members through his analysis of A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, and you can watch it now at dailywire.com/watch. Remember, Third Thursday Book Club is a live experience where you get to engage with Ben Shapiro in real time, ask questions, and comment on the book. Today, we're premiering a new trailer. Check it out here.
I want to tell you about my Third Thursday book club. This is not your average book club. These are the greatest books in the history of Western literature. We're going to dive into the greatest works of all time. These are the books that helped form the key pillars of Western civilization and helped define America. And we're going to do it live with thousands of you, our Daily Wire members. I'm going to be your personal guide. I've read every one of these books. I'm going to draw out the important lessons and themes from every book. Plus, I'm going to be answering your questions along the way. So we actually do read the book together. You join the book club, you are going to get smarter. You're going to get more knowledgeable. Because this is an investment in your most valuable asset, your mind. The Third Thursday book club. It's going to change the way you think.
Yeah.
You know, when you sign up, you'll also get his notes, which is a cheat sheet to get the important lessons, themes, and characters. This month's book is The Once and Future King by T.H. White. You can sign up now at thirdthursdaybookclub.com to get Ben's notes sent straight to your inbox for The Once and Future King by T.H. White. Let's get now to the comment section. All right, some comments from Friday's show. John Williams says, I cannot believe that anyone could listen to what Matt is describing and still be pro-choice. Well, they don't listen, John. That's the trick. They don't, not just to me, they just don't listen. They tune it out as much as they can. And that's how they remain pro-abortion. It's the only way that you can remain pro-abortion, I think, is to be very careful about what you expose yourself to. I think it was C.S. Lewis that said something along the lines of, an atheist can never be too careful in his reading, because the point C.S. Lewis was making is that atheism is this kind of this fragile thing, and you have to protect it very carefully by making sure you don't expose yourself to anything that could shatter that view into a million pieces. And it's the same thing with being pro-abortion.
It's the same thing with Christians who are curious and powerful Satanists arising on the new level.
That's why clinics know this. The abortion mills, they know this for sure. That's why they've conspired with the government. They've got all these special laws. No other, by the way, no other industries, no other private establishments get this kind of law. But there are laws on the books where you're not allowed to get within X number of yards of an abortion mill. Even if not on their property, like public property, they still get this radius. No one else gets it, they get it because of this relationship between the abortion industry and government, this kind of incestuous relationship. So they have that. They've got clinic escorts who come out, and when the women are coming in to kill their babies, they send the escorts out. And the escorts' whole job is just to make sure that the women don't look over at any protesters who might be there.
Again, the conservative right likes to use the conservative left likes to use certain things where it's like it can be construed.
They don't receive any of the literature that someone might try to hand to them. It's all about keeping, this fragile thing intact. Let's see. Nate says, if you make abortion illegal, there will be an influx of back alley procedures. Well, maybe the mother of the child will reconsider something so dangerous if they themselves could be put in harm's way. Yeah, that's the correct response to this back alley claim. And if we don't have abortions, then you're going to have unsafe and dirty abortions that happen in back alleys. Well, the problem is that every abortion is unsafe by definition.
Not every abortion is unsafe, especially if it's done in a hospital by professionals.
The objective of the abortion is to destroy life, and so there's no safe way to do it. And also, it is a dirty, evil, terrible thing to do in the first place.
Would you be saying that if women were expected to be the protectors? Let me just, dude, I gotta have a cigar. Fuck sickos, you know what I'm saying? But it's like this dude wanna sit here and throw a bitch fit about people accepting him. I'm like, that's the whole argument of LGBTQ plus is just being accepted. And you know what? Fuck sickos. That's how I feel. You see what this religious argument's all about. I hate cigarettes.
And in a civilized society, you don't provide a nice, clean, welcoming environment for people to do dirty, evil, destructive, horrible things.
No one should, so what's your point?
Kids, most of all. Let's see. Mike Mart says, this biromantic asexuality nonsense reminds me of the infinite fracturing of musical styles that the punk rock scene spawned back in the 90s. You could no longer talk about your favorite artist without the initiated lecturing you on whether their style was pre this, post that, neo something, or proto.
I feel that you can't just talk about your fucking love for music without being told you're semi-sexual, you're gay, you're straight, you're a male goth, you're this and you're that. Fuck what everybody has to say.
Else. The growing palette of genders and sexualities creates an ever-increasing array of self-branding opportunities for people desperate to stand out in a rather bland culture. I want to say we are reaching peak narcissism, but we could have a long way to go yet before the worship of the self comes into its full flower. Very well put. I don't think I need to add anything to it. James says, Matt, after your take on chain restaurants, I have to say you're banned from the show. Yes, this is another reason why I'm being viciously attacked today. Aside from my great style and my sandals and socks.
Great style, okay.
All I said on Twitter yesterday is that actually all sit-down chain restaurants are fine and some are even good. And in the vast majority of cases, the boutique kind of nice, trendy restaurants aren't enough of an improvement over the chains to justify the price. That's my point. So, for example,
that's your choice.
I've never been to a nice Italian restaurant that's enough of an upgrade over Olive Garden or Carrabba's to make it worth the premium you pay for it. I know this.
Not trying to kiss Italian ass, but you get a romantic Olive Garden like restaurant, but it's made by authentic Italians. It's going to be made better than.
Treated like heresy, and I've got all the Italians coming after me. How could you say this? Well, it's true. I'm not.
That's your opinion, but whatever.
And you could go to the nice Italian place, and the spaghetti is going to be a little better than.
I could go to my local Italian restaurant and be like, stuff the mozzarella ball with. They'd be like, what? Take the meatball, stuff it with mozzarella, and wrap it in bacon, and make juicy, loosey meatballs. Wrapped in bacon, stuffed with the mozzarella cheese.
It's not better enough to justify how much more you're paying for it. That's my take. I'm sticking to it. And I've been to nice restaurants all over the country. I've been to the kind of places that are renowned. You hear about, oh, this is famous across the world. It's the best place. And you go in, and they're always good, but they're almost never good enough for the price. And I usually leave there thinking, man, I could have just gone to Red Robin and paid 1/10 of the price, and I'd be just as full right now, and the food experience would have been only slightly worse. That's my take. So that's a hot take that's actually, it's on the positive end of things. I don't do those very often. Usually my hot takes are, oh, actually this thing that you think is good is bad. I'm saying this thing that you think is bad is actually good. So you should everyone should appreciate that for what it is, at least. Let's get to our daily cancellation. Today for our daily cancellation, we'll be responding to another YouTube video which endeavors to expose, humiliate, and debunk yours truly. This one was posted by two people named Brad Palumbo and Hannah Cox. They don't have a very large following. You'll see why in a moment. And perhaps by most standards are not worth my time, but they represent something that I find particularly annoying. And so I can't really help myself. They are smug, self-satisfied libertarians. Not that there's any other kind of libertarian, of course. And nothing.
Not that Republicans are just like smug. I gotta take a piss.
Irritates me more than smug, self-satisfied libertarians, which is why I feel compelled to speak out and respond. Brad and Hannah react to 3 of my quote-unquote controversial opinions. The first is my take on the dating scene. The second is my opinion about alleged mental illnesses like anxiety and depression. And the third is a tweet that I posted like 4 or 5 years ago where I said that yoga is a satanic pagan ritual.
What? Yoga is a satanic. What? Yoga is a satanic pagan ritual? Oh my God, typical conservative.
Stand by all of those opinions, especially the last one about yoga. Yoga is most certainly a depraved, despicable, and blasphemous and also sacrilegious act.
This guy's retarded.
But as important as that discussion is, due to time constraints, I'm going to focus today on the portion of the video which covers the first 2 subjects. There's a little bit more meat on the bones there. So let's get into it.
Hey guys, I'm Brad Palumbo. This is Hannah Cox. Welcome back to Libertarians React. We're the co-founders of Base Politics, and today we're reacting to the one and only Matt Walsh.
This is going to be really hot take-ish. I think we're going to have very strong reactions to much of what he has to say. If you don't know Matt Walsh, he's a blogger, Christian conservative, extreme traditionalist who really likes to push his way of thinking on other people. That's something we don't really stand for as libertarians. So we're going to work through some of his clips and break them down. Let us know your thoughts. Make sure to leave your comments as well.
Okay, a couple of problems here. First of all, turn the music in the background down a few notches. Also, I haven't been a blogger for like 5 years. I'm a podcaster now. Get it right. Podcast is
Sure, man.
blogging in vocal form, but still. Also, these 2 characters are the co-founders of something called Based Politics, which is like me being the founder of something called vegan feminist yoga politics. Actually, that would be far less absurd because I am, after all, a best-selling women's studies author. But libertarians, on the other hand, are definitely not based, especially not
Being a author like your type and being a male definitely presents this challenges.
Libertarians. In fact, it's fair to say that the term based could literally be defined as the opposite of these two. Speaking of not being based, they accuse me of pushing my way of thinking on other people. What? How? By expressing opinions? Isn't that exactly what they're doing? If I
That is exactly what they're doing. People are expressing their opinions, and people can't handle it. Hypocrisy on both sides.
my opinions on other people by saying them out loud, then aren't they pushing their opinion of me onto me by making an entire video about me? When exactly does spoken opinion graduate from being just an opinion to being a form of compulsion? I'm assuming that line.
Nearly go. You want to investigate a spooky hotel with us?
Across the moment you say something that these two don't like. Let's continue.
So in this first clip, he endorses arranged marriages. Let's take a listen.
Now, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum are arranged marriages. Instead of a boundless, never-ending buffet of options, a young person in a culture that practices arranged marriages will be assigned just one, and they don't even make the choice. Their families just pair them up and say, here you go. There's far less freedom and far less autonomy in a system of that sort, but
there's nothing wrong with your family being like, oh, hey, this person's good for you. But that's for you to decide.
Without a doubt, superior to our system. We would be happier. Every person in the dating scene right now would be happier if they were just matched up with someone against their will.
Against their will?
No, they wouldn't.
New dating app, right? You match somebody against your will. Here you go. You're assigned this person. Go make babies. What the heck is wrong
I don't
with
know.
them?
How is it conservatives to be like, yeah, it would have a lot less freedom and individual rights, but it'd be better. That's not what conservatism in America has ever been about.
How bad is your marriage? Is what I want to know. That you think people should be like assign people like a lottery system, like here you go, and that would be just as good as whatever you found.
It's a little rapey, to be honest. The vibes of like, yeah, women should be assigned to me as my wife. No, they should not, sir.
Mm-hmm.
They should.
Agreed.
Oh,
this seems like it comes from a very incel kind of mindset of like, I can't get women on my own. They never pick me, and so they just assign me. I know, but he speaks for that crowd.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Just a quick tip for any future libertarians react videos. I would dial down the music, but also the shrillness and smugness by about 8 or 9 points. Because right now you're at a full 10 on the smarmy dork scale, and it's frankly a bit overwhelming. As mentioned, libertarians in general have a serious problem with smugness, but here I think we've met like the libertarian smug super spreaders. These are our patient zeros of libertarian smugness. They also have zero in the way of arguments, rebuttals, or clever comebacks. They are, of course, being wildly dishonest about my argument. I never said that arranged marriages are ideal. I also never said that women should be assigned to me to be married. I also never mentioned that women should be the only ones subjected to it. I said that arranged marriages are better than our current approach to dating. And that's simply because our current approach couldn't possibly be any worse. But is there at least some wisdom to the arranged marriage model? Yes, there is. And before you continue scoffing and gasping at the very idea that there could be anything redeeming in it, consider that many cultures around the world, especially non-Western cultures, have had and still have such a system. Are they all just a bunch of idiot troglodytes, Brad and Hannah? Are you sure you want to make that argument? If that's the broad brush you want to use to paint billions of people and dozens of cultures across the world and throughout history, go for it, I guess. Fits with the whole smug theme, I guess. As for me, my preferred system is essentially the one we had in this country before the modern dating scene began to form, and certainly before hookup culture and dating apps took hold. I favor courtship, where the dating phase is understood by all parties concerned to be the path to marriage. Typically, in a courtship culture, families may not choose your spouse, but they are heavily involved in selecting potential matches. This is far superior to our current arrangement, where a legion of confused, lethargic, hapless, single people scroll endlessly through avatars on their phones, randomly selecting one after another.
My friend, I'm sick and tired of seeing men like you work 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week. And in the end of it, what are you left with? Burnout, fatigue, frustration, discontentment. Things in life don't seem to click. No matter how much you keep hustling, things don't change. This is one of the reasons why I wrote a book called Warrior Book and Be the Man, which we've been selling for $119 in the book bundle to tens of thousands of men around the world. And today I'd like to give you a copy of that bundle, Be the Man, a Warrior Book, for free. Listen, I feel a deep sense of obligation in my world to be able to serve even more men. There are tons of men in our programs and have for the past 10 years. But today I'd like you to pick up a free copy of this on me as a gift at this time of the season, particularly with all the shit we've gone through in the last couple of years together with masks and mandates and all the insanity. So pick up a free copy, click on the link on this page, and I'll send those books right there to you.
Want to know how my friend Rachel made $25,520.81 in a single month selling mugs, hoodies, and
For fleeting temporary flings where emotion, infatuation, and physical attraction are the only driving forces, the only litmus test. You would, in fact, be better off just having your family choose your spouse for you than making decisions that way.
I would disagree. Is your happiness, as long as they're of age and consensual, your family don't have the right to decide your happiness.
Is the most superficial, unreliable, and chaotic way possible. And ironically, the girl in the video actually makes this point for me accidentally. Listen.
No. One time my dad tried to set me up with somebody and I was aghast at who he thought I would like. I was actually
No one's arguing with the conservative Christian asshole. You shouldn't force people to date people they don't want to date, but at the same time, it's like,
insulted. I was like, Dad, you know I'm cute, right? Like, you know, like I don't have a problem pulling men, right? Like, no,
But at
absolutely
least that was
not.
a suggestion. It wasn't a.
It was just what he would like me to be with, which was like this super Christian guy who was in
Yeah.
his church and who like was slightly balding, but like he thought was a good option for me. He was like a really good guy, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need a really good guy who's not balding, like, and also who doesn't live in Anderson, South Carolina, because I'm for sure as hell not. And like, you know, those kinds of things. So all I'm saying is, I love my parents dearly, but I would never want them to pick my mate. They would have no clue how to begin to pick who I would actually want. So,
Yeah, no,
mhm.
it's just creepy, and it's really crazy, and I just can't relate to that one at all.
Can someone make a video attacking me that like put some effort into it? I'm looking for a good challenge here. This is just so your dad set you up with someone who you admit is a really good guy, but he's losing his hair, so you had no interest in him. And you say that you're too attractive to be wasting your time with men who have the audacity to possess physical flaws. Now, look, I wouldn't usually say what I'm about to say, but speaking to the girl now. You earlier felt comfortable commenting on my marriage, inaccurately, of course. So you've opened yourself up to some harsh truths. And here it is, Cupcake. You may be slightly overestimating yourself. You seem to have erroneously given yourself a couple of extra points on the 1 to 10 physical attractiveness scale. Just a tip. And even if you hadn't, if you're single and making your decisions based on hairlines, you're either going to be lonely and miserable as you're
based on hairlines. So if women are making complaints based on hairlines, and they want to make a complaint about gender relations, why the fuck you gonna bitch about the comments made about Will Smith's wife? Just saying it because that's the truth.
right now for the rest of your life, or eventually you're going to be frivolously marrying some scumbag who isn't a good guy, but at least still has all his hair. And a short time later, you're going to file for divorce and try to make yourself into the victim of your failed marriage when it's your own vanity and stupidity that put you in that position. One of those two results are your destiny, unless you learn to look a little deeper in your search for a mate. The fact that you can't look deeper right now and that your father seems to have a better view of who would be a good match for you than you do only proves my point. you yourself specifically would be better off with an arranged marriage. Now, I'm not sure I could say the same for the poor sap who ends up with you on the altar, but you would actually be better off with that. So from here, the dynamic duo moved to my unorthodox opinions on alleged mental illnesses like anxiety and depression. They didn't offer anything that could reasonably just be described as an argument against my take on dating. Let's see if they might get around to attempting an actual refutation on this topic at least. Let's listen. One of the worst things to happen in modern times is the medicalization of the human condition. Now people who experience anxiety think they're sick. They aren't. Anxiety is a fundamental fact of human existence. It is not a disease. That's what I wrote. That's what I believe. We have set out to medicalize and diseaseify every aspect of the human condition, every difficult emotion, every unpleasant personality trait. That's why the DSM now has something like 300 mental disorders listed, and over 50 million adults in this country have been diagnosed with at least one of them.
Which one of those applies to trolls who say outlandish things for attention?
Right. I hate this.
Yeah.
You hate this too, I'm sure.
I do. I'm very bothered by it, but it's also just like very objectively wrong. Literally, depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain that you can observe in someone. You can look at the brain scan of somebody who's clinically depressed for someone else and see the difference. It is not the same as just feeling sad sometimes. And it's so harmful when so many people lose their lives to these conditions and die by suicide. To be
Or
just
drug addiction.
out here on this hill with this completely medically uninformed and unscientific take that's just, I guess, honestly, just for attention.
Just for attention. So I just want attention. What is it that you want when you talk about me? The title of this video is Libertarians React to 3 Wildest Matt Walsh Trad Contakes.
If you wanted attention, you wouldn't have fucking been like political issues sensitive. There's a big difference between people who do it for attention and people who do it for the right reasons. You got some asshole who's just supporting sickos and human rights just because he can, versus the assholes who are like, I don't like what this person has to post, fuck them.
Parentheses, Matt Walsh Show. They put my name in their title twice, and I'm the one begging for attention. But this is the kind of free thinking we get from libertarians.
Freak thinking. The left just want acceptance just like the right, good sir.
You have an opinion that ventures outside of the mainstream. It must be just a ploy for attention. These two literally cannot imagine how or why any human being could or would ever formulate an independent thought otherwise. They're dumbfounded by the very idea of ideas. Their dumbfoundedness is especially embarrassing in this case because anxiety and despair are huge topics, deep and important topics, and topics that people have been discussing and debating for thousands of years. As far as these two are concerned, though, the debate is over, I guess. The pharmaceutical industry has settled the debate. We are all now ethically bound to agree with big pharma, or else we're harmful, malignant trolls just out for attention.
It's not even big pharma, it's just evidence, dude. You reject evidence. It's more than just big pharma.
Now, Brad smugly assures us that I'm factually wrong. Depression is a chemical imbalancement, he says. Well, the chemical...
We've got about 4 minutes left.
Balancement theory of depression was cutting edge about 75 years ago. In this century, Brad, it's roundly understood by nearly every credible scientist and researcher to be a misnomer. The drug companies still talk about chemical imbalancements. Dumb libertarians on YouTube still talk about it. But the people who understand the issue and who want others to understand it have long since moved on from it. There is, in fact, no evidence of any simple measurable imbalance that easily explains depression. You cannot diagnose the depression with a brain scan. Absolutely, you cannot. And they don't, by the way. If you could diagnose it that way, that's how they diagnose it. But they don't. You might want to read some literature on the topic that was written sometime after World War II, Brad. Just a tip. Okay, one more clip. Let's watch.
Anxiety and depression can be normal human experiences if you were experiencing situational anxiety or depression. And that can be a small blip that you have to work through, say, and that
if you're glamorizing it, yes.
That is not a medical.
Human depression can be glamorized and the wrong reasons.
Right? You're not having an imbalance, you're having a rational reaction to an event. Somebody dies in your life, you're sad, you fall into depression. That is situational depression. And while you can still get help for that and should, especially things like therapy,
Exactly.
I would not say that's a medical condition.
Therapy helps, it helps.
Right? Same thing with anxiety. Like if you're having anxiety because you're really stressed and you have a deadline, you don't know if you're gonna make it, like it's normal to have anxiety there. But then there are actual medical conditions, which are things like generalized anxiety disorders, depressive disorders, and there's many orders underneath those that you can look up in the DSM.
Yeah.
But basically, they are things like you and I have. I have a generalized anxiety disorder, and what that means is that I have anxiety responses that are not normal given the situation, the circumstances.
You're not just feeling anxious.
I'm not just feeling anxious. I'm not responding to a rational event. I am making things up in my head and overreacting to them and fixating on them oftentimes.
And oftentimes when the people capitalize on that, people who have general disorders capitalize on it, it's fucking disgusting.
Point where if I had not received medical treatment throughout my life, I might fall into things like addiction. I might fall into other harmful behaviors to escape it. I might overreact to situations in ways that could be harmful. And often these things can lead to suicide. And so to say that these are not medical conditions is extremely harmful. It's not based on anything at all. I almost think it's like something that could make you liable. Some of your audience is listening to some of this. Like, good grief. Like, I would feel
definitely
responsibility.
borderline.
So the libertarians have actually just said that I should be legally liable for my unpopular views on mental illness. These are our free speech.
Yeah, but here's the thing of it. Let me grab another beer to this. Is when it's libertarians unpopular with your opinion, they're automatically wrong. And it's just like you don't stop to examine the possibility that they might be right. Fuck sickos.
Folks. What's more, I should be legally liable if I convince people not to purchase products from the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, you'd almost be tempted to think that these two are being paid by Pfizer, but then you realize that Pfizer could afford much more persuasive spokesmen. She draws a line between depression or anxiety felt due to a life event like a death in the family and pervasive anxiety felt day to day, and often for seemingly irrational reasons. She says that the latter is in the DSM and the other isn't, but again, she's wrong. In fact, grief disorder, that is grief felt after the death of a loved one, is now officially in the DSM as a mental illness. I guess that means the free-thinking libertarians have to uncritically accept it as a legitimate medical issue. I, however, retain the right to be skeptical. As for the pervasive and irrational...
People have the right to retain that you're wrong. It is what it is.
Anxiety she describes, that is also very normal. Anxiety is one of the defining elements of the human condition. This is why philosophy...
Anxiety being like, just because one person's wrong, one person's right, allegedly. And this just comes down to good morals and not anything else. It's stupid.
have puzzled over it for millennia. It's rooted deep in all of our psyches. There is not one person alive on earth who is ever totally free of anxiety. Anxiety at its basis level is fear or dread in the face of the unknown. Kierkegaard said that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom.
And Republicans use the anxiety of the unknown to speak their side of the argument.
Now, he saw it, most thinkers in history have seen it, as an elemental fact of human psychology. Only in modern times have we compartmentalized and medicalized it. I'm skeptical of that. I'm skeptical of many popular ideas, I confess. This is just one of them. Another one is libertarianism. Though in fairness, I shouldn't blame libertarianism for the fact that these two are such mediocre and unimpressive representatives of it. And so ultimately, they specifically, if not libertarianism as a whole, are the ones who are canceled. And we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Godspeed. The Matt Walsh Show is produced by Sean Hampton. Executive producer Jeremy Bourne. Our supervising producer is Mathis Glover. Production manager Pavel Vodowski. Our associate producer is McKenna Waters. The show is edited by Robbie Dantzler. Our audio is mixed by Mike Coromina. And hair and makeup is done by Cherokee Hart. The Matt Walsh Show is a Daily Wire production. Copyright Daily Wire 2022.
John Bickley here, Daily Wire editor-in-chief. Wake up every morning with our show, Morning Wire, where we bring you all the news that you need to know in 15 minutes or less. Join me and my co-host, Georgia Howe, for daily coverage of all the biggest stories on Morning Wire.
It is what it is, YouTube. But I'll catch you cobras later. Cheers to a good time.